right about the shoe. The shoe was not the same in the pit shown in court as the shoe pulled from the evidence bag by Trooper Bukake.
You mentioned you're at the hospital. There was a sneaker. One.
Yes.
Bukake! Bukake!
Woo! Good afternoon, evening, friends. I don't know. It's good to see you guys. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a nice evening / afternoon. Or wherever the hell you are on this rock and watching from. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever. It's great to see you guys. I hope everyone's doing good. Yeah, man. So today we're gonna just kind of kick it a little bit. I got it's actually really cool. The juror, the jury foreman from the last Karen Reed trial just did an interview with Boston Magazine, and we are going to go over that. And I saw somebody in the comments saying, is he going to call in? No. Let me just give a disclaimer. I don't do things that are, or at least designed to be clickbait. I don't. So if you were under that impression, I apologize. Just know for future reference that if I'm going to have a guest on, I'm going to say in the title, I'm going to be clear in the title or the thumbnail that they're a guest. I'll probably title it something like a conversation with this person or so on and so forth. So just know that I don't clickbait people. So I will be abundantly clear if I have a guest on that they are a guest. So I do appreciate all you guys being here. Wow, it's 5 degrees here and snowing and blowing. Yeah, it's supposed to snow here, I think. Somebody said something that it was supposed to snow here. I don't know. I hope it doesn't snow too bad. Because that's going to put a limit on our clubber walks. But yeah, big shout out to all my members, all you green handles in the chat. I appreciate all you guys, and I appreciate all you as well who are not members. But I just want to give a shout out to my members who are enjoying the petty streams and the clubber walks and having a good time here on this channel. So yeah, I appreciate you guys a lot. Yeah, no, I know. I get it. I'm just saying, for the sake of people who are misled for any reason, it was not my intention. So just so you know, just for future reference, if I have a guest on the channel, you'll know that they're a guest. You won't have to ask yourself if that's what's going on. What's up, Oasis Cat Trial Channel? Appreciate all my mods, and I appreciate everyone with channels and wrenches in the chat too, who hang out in here. All right, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. So Scott says his Verizon is working fine. So yeah, I just wanted to, you know. Linda Macy gifted a membership. Oh my God. Thank you so much. You are fantastic. And let's see, Angela Anderson Books became a new member. So did Brian Burns. Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, it was warm enough here. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, man. And Jimmy had somebody. I don't know who they are, but they were important to Jimmy, and he got a really awesome shout out. And like this, I was watching the person send the video message. I was watching the person's video message that they sent to Jimmy. I was in Jimmy's members only teachers lounge chat. And I was really enjoying seeing that happen for Jimmy, because I Jimmy's creative, man, and I like to see creators who are really creative do well. I like to see it pay off. And so many times it just never happens. Like, it's a crime to me that Hannibal and Monty aren't like huge. It makes no sense to me. Like, their channel is hilarious. Like, I don't get why people or maybe I just have a different sense of humor. I don't know. But I think that they're amazing, and it's crazy to me that they're not bigger than they are. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, people are always like, you're always looking down at some idiot. I love being on X again. Because there's, oh my God, like, it's like the retards multiplied. It's like they procreated and multiplied. It's bizarre. And I've only been off for a few months, maybe 6 months. Tons of fun. Member for 3 months. I appreciate you all. I love that. Thank you so much. Laura J. Riker. I just can't keep away from Jefe Papi Chulo. Of course you can't. Nobody can. The Goodmans gifted a membership. Thank you. Yeah, it's wild, dude. It's wild how that's gone on Twitter right now. Like, this idiot, I think her name is Christina or something. She's fucking retarded. Like, she's like retarded. It's just like the word retarded, just, in 3 syllables, it just doesn't ring without, like, you know, you got to really emphasize, like, she's retarded, you know? Wild. And she's like, everything you're doing is clearly scripted. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. I love that people think that I write this shit. You realize that's like, these people don't even realize that they're complimenting me. They try to, like, troll me, but they're complimenting me. You know, like when they go, oh, you know, he's reading a script. Robin G gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. And like they claim that Aiden is sitting around all day long, like he doesn't have anything better to do, right? Either I'm just spending my whole day sitting here and writing all day long for a 3-hour live stream that I'm reading poorly, obviously, or actually I'm reading so well that it sounds natural. So this idiot is like, oh my God. She's like, dude, we see you looking down at a notepad all the time. Like, bro, I don't even know what happened to my notebook. Remember, I was taking notes. I was putting people on the list. And I don't even know what happened to it. But no, just so you know, I am looking down quite a bit, but I'm looking down at my phone. Okay. I'm looking down at my phone because it's my failsafe for comments that I don't see here. Okay. Sometimes the comment on the chat flies on my, see, look, I haven't done anything with my phone. I'm just watching my own stream so I could look at the chat. That's all I'm doing. That's it. I'm just, you know, keeping one set of eyes as if 2 on my chat. That's all. But I'm reading a script, which I love when they say that, because it I mean, if I'm up here raw dogging this shit, which I always do, I've written maybe 3 live streams total. I know for a fact my first one I pre-wrote because I didn't know what to do. I overthought this whole thing when I was like, okay, I'm going to start my YouTube channel, because I had ended up on a couple people's panels the same way a lot of people start on YouTube. I ended up on a couple people's panels and I was like, why don't I just do this shit myself? Because everybody was like, do you have a channel? And I was like, I'm thinking of using my channel for something. I don't know. But, I mean, my handle is my channel, but I might do something. And then people would say, whoever's panel I was on, subscribe to this guy. And then I ended up doing my first live, but again, like I overthought it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and then I pre-wrote this script, like, and you could tell, and I was afraid to go on camera. I was incredibly shy, self-conscious, totally, all of these things. And so when people are saying, now that I'm reading a script, I'm like, man, that's fucking really nice that you think that. That's really nice that you think that. It's such a compliment. Because I never know what I'm gonna say. I never know what I'm gonna say. Sometimes, I mean, obviously there are times where, like, I'll be thinking about something, and like I'm in the shower, and I'm thinking about something, and I'll have a thought, and then I'll express the same thought here. But I'm not rehearsing for a stream, I found that me simply getting up here and just treating this like a hangout with the people who want to hang out in my chat has been the most beneficial, to be just as raw and as, you know, it's less work. It guarantees not putting any work into this. It guarantees me not feeling like this is work. It keeps me loving this, just to hang out with you guys and talk. And I missed a couple super chats. I'm really sorry about that. Let me see here. Proctorial misconduct. Oh my God. Hold on.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat.
How dare you?
I think I already went over this, but thank you again, Proctorial misconduct. How can they think it's scripted? It goes all over. Right. Like, how is my ADHD not the most obvious goddamn fucking thing out of everything that you witness here? You know what I mean? Like, I jump from one topic. I go all over the place. I am the most disorganized YouTuber I know. So when they say, oh my God, it's scripted, look at him, I'm like, word. Fucking word. Again, dude, like proof, I'm just Forrest Gumping this shit, bro. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I never have known what the fuck I'm doing. The only thing I know is what fair use is. That's it. Like, that's it. Like, I could give you insight on people, and I could give you insight on how to deal with a strike on YouTube. But aside from that, like, I can't fucking, I can't, like, not even grifting. Like, my grift game is fucking on point, and I don't even know how I fucking did it. I have any idea. I'm Forrest Gumping this shit. And I guess that's why they hate it so much, you know? Because others try so hard. But yeah, so thank you, Christina, and everyone else who thinks that my content is scripted. Yeah, it was the Noah Poth oven one that I did. It was the very first one I did. And I know for a fact I worked really hard on that one too. It was the video on Gannon Stauk that I did. And it's crazy because, dude, Annie has offered me like help, you know, and I'm just like, you know, whatever I'm doing, I like what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But Annie has been like, you know, listen, all you got to do, just write a script. Okay. Write a script, record yourself recording it, and add notes and send it to me, and I'll give it to my editor. And I'll pay for it, everything, you know. All you got to do is just get the skeletal system done, and I'll take care of the rest for you. Like, who else has a YouTube creator with 1.3 last I checked million subscribers, has one of the top true crime podcasts out? Who else has that at their disposal? And who else is stupid enough to turn it down? So, yeah, you know, who's got two thumbs and is absolutely retarded? This guy. But yeah, that's the kind of friend she is. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just like I just enjoy this. I enjoy this too much. One of these days, I might just get hyper focused on learning how to edit and record pre-recorded videos and make funny shit, and start doing what fucking, attempt to do something along the lines of Microdots or Fervent. Maybe, but until I get that hankering, dude, like, oh shit, SVU's on, that's my free time. That's it. If I'm not at the gym, I could barely pay attention to SVU these days. I end up playing around with Clubber and, I just, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you enjoy the shit, like it, or don't. I'm to that point now. Like, it's really weird. I'm in this really weird phase with being a YouTuber right now where I'm just like, I don't give a fuck what my subscriber count is, if I'm being honest. Like, it's never really made a difference. Like, it's honestly never really made a difference. Other than, because what matters to me is like how many people I have in the chat and, interacting with them and the people who leave nice comments when they watch the replay, who can't catch the live. I dig that shit. You know what I mean? That's, at this point, I'm just like, like if I ended up with 100,000 subs, I'd be happy, but, I don't want to ever not feel like 48,000 subs isn't some fucking shit, isn't some amazing shit. You know what I mean? To have 48,000 people take an interest in you is something that you should never take for granted. And so that's just, it's my effort to constantly be grateful. I don't need the hindrance of wanting to have more, needing more. I'm just going to do what I do here. I'm going to enjoy doing it. And if the channel grows, then I'm going to be grateful for its growth. But regardless, I'm going to be grateful for what I currently have. So that's what I'm going to focus on. Yeah, it is. That's fucking crazy, dude. That's fucking crazy. To get DMs and emails where people are saying things that are really kind, that I've inspired them, and and then I bring them laughter in times that they're going through a hard time, and it means a lot. And for them to want to express that and the purpose of that is to make me feel good about how I'm making them feel, is a hell of a thing. It's a fucking hell of a thing. And I know I don't respond to a lot of them, most of them, honestly. But it's just the way that I am when it comes to personal interactions with people. I like to keep that limited. I'm stupid and forgetful. I forget people's names, and then I feel stupid about that. I overthink. And so I try to keep my personal interactions with people as limited as possible, not because I don't like people, not because I think I'm better than anybody, just because it makes managing this way easier. And it's just easier to be upfront about that. It's nothing personal if I don't respond. It's, but I do see a lot of the messages. I do see most of them, if not all of them. And I really, really appreciate them. Motherfuckers got fake accounts with my name. Heads up, y'all. Yeah, it's bound to happen, Nicola. What's up, Danny Radhouse? Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is, like, you can tell when I'm reading. You can tell when I'm reading. Like, you're gonna see me read right now because we're gonna talk about this jury foreman whose name will be refreshed in my memory as soon as I read the article. But he didn't give his name when he interviewed before. Oh, Krista, thank you so much. Member for 10 months. Wow, Will, this is why you are so amazing. Gratitude. Thank you so much. So oh, wait. Random Brockton whore. I caught your clever walk today. I respect how honest you are with your personal stories. That takes strength and character. James went low when he brought up your son. I was horrified he did that. He was classless. Much love. You know, that's it's not something I really care to discuss much about. I most definitely don't want to discuss it outside of Clubber walks. But yeah, I appreciate that. But Boston Magazine interviewed in their section City Life the Karen Reed jury foreman. Let me just share the screen here. Charlie, the Karen Reed jury foreman, still can't get over the missing dog. Charlie Deloach, I think it's Deloach, juror number 1 in the state's highest profile murder retrial, talks about what actually happened in those deliberations. Excuse me. Charlie Deloach never intended to serve on a jury, let alone one deciding arguably the state's highest profile murder case. An educator who grew up in the Bromley Heath public housing development in JP, he spent more than 3 decades working with Boston kids and already had his hands full. But this past year, he found himself leading these deliberations after Judge Beverly Cannoni tapped him as foreman in the second criminal trial of Karen Reed, who was ultimately found not guilty of murder and manslaughter this past summer. As Reed's civil case ramps up, we sat down with Deloach, and he didn't disappoint. And the questions, I'm going to be reading them as questions and answers. What was your initial reaction when you got the jury summons? Were you going to try and avoid serving, or did you want to? He says, I was going to do the old out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. I had always tried to dodge it. So if they didn't call me or they didn't come to my door knocking, they weren't getting See, exactly. See, this is why these kind of jurors get picked. Okay. This is why these kind of jurors get picked, because it's the same principle as like Marcus Aurelius in Gladiator, right? Where he says, I'm going to make sure that my powers, when I pass on, go on to you, Maximus. And he's like, will you accept this great honor that I have bestowed upon you? And Maximus goes, with all my heart, no. Right? And then he's like, do you see, Maximus? That is why it must be you. Exactly. That's why jurors like this get picked. Because this dude is obviously a man of integrity. Look at what he does for a living. Look at what he's been doing with his life. So he's like, oh, I don't want to have that kind of power. I don't want to have to like decide someone's fate, you know? But then guess what? When he doesn't really have a choice, what does a man like that do? Well, he's going to do the right thing. He's going to do the best he can with that situation. Because a man of integrity understands that sometimes you do what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to roll up your sleeves because you got to do it. It is what it is. And so if you got to do it the best you can. That's it. So how did you become the foreman? How does that work? I became the foreman because the judge, Beverly, she chose me. After they had their final statements and closing arguments, she said, "This is the time that I usually go over the law. And before that, I picked the foreman." Well, he's misquoting her. She says, "This is the time that I usually teach you the law." And before that, I picked the foreman, she said. I select juror 1, and I was like, okay. She was like, oh, that's a man who says yes before he even knows what he has to do. Okay. You had no idea what it entailed? Not really. Actually, over the weekend, I looked up before we started deliberating. We went in there around 2:20 p.m. on Friday afternoon for official deliberations, and probably by 2:45 p.m., all the evidence was in the room. Then we could finally talk about the case. I didn't really know the true detail of it until the weekend. What was the initial atmosphere like? Did you immediately take a vote? Did everyone declare what they thought, or did they keep their opinions to themselves? Yeah, I love this question. He said, we asked the question, does everybody want to vote now? And a lot of people were like, no. So we started by looking at the evidence. And then I realized what a foreman does: organizing, keeping the process going, keeping the peace, and those kinds of things. Which is kind of what I do at work anyway. Right on. So Judge Bev had some good judgment as far as picking a foreman. I was going to ask you if your work experience helped you with being a foreman. And he says, yeah, big time. Yes, because I have to deal with a lot of different personalities all at once. So I had to figure that out. What I usually do is kind of stay low key and just let whatever come my way and try to figure it out instead of trying to be more aggressive about it. So I wasn't like, oh, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to lay it out. And everybody was very helpful. When I felt like things were kind of going left or right, I tried to reel it back and make sure everybody was being heard, that everybody was listening when someone else was talking. I love that. Did you feel like the public pressure, the people outside the courthouse watching and waiting? Did you feel the public pressure? You could see the presence of people outside, he said, but did it sway the way I was going to determine my decision or how I was going to vote? No, because I was going to determine my decision, because I was going to stick to the evidence and testimony and the stuff that went on in the courtroom. There was the pro-Karen group and the anti-Karen group, and I was like, I get it. Everyone is in outrage. But my job was to do whatever I could with what was in front of me. That is exactly what a juror is supposed to say. It is exactly how a juror is supposed to think. That is exactly what a juror's mindset should be. That's why it is unconstitutional to stop people from protesting, speaking their mind, exercising their right to assembly, right to free speech outside of the courthouse, on the courthouse steps. That's why it's unconstitutional to take that right away from them. Because if you choose a jury the way you're supposed to choose a jury, based on the right things, your jury should not be affected by what's going on outside. Your jury should only be focused on the facts and the evidence and what has taken place in that courtroom. Nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. US Lily 80, thank you so much. Always stay true to yourself. Being humble is not a sign of weakness. It's a great trait to have. You are funny, crazy, and smart. That's the way to be. I'm here for it. That means everything to me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason why a juror should be swayed by anything that happens outside for that reason. How did you keep it all to yourself when you were with family or friends? He says, it was a lot of, I just can't talk about it. That was my mindset because I wanted to be totally impartial in the decision that I made and make sure it wasn't something coerced by someone telling me something. Boy, was I tempted to go on the internet and just look up everything. But I was like, I can't. This is what they want us. This is what they want us to look at. And there is a reason why. So I'm just going to stick to it. And then afterwards, oh, was I surprised? Wow. That's really funny. So this guy, think about that. Think about that for a second. This guy was, even with the little bit of what was going on with the McAlberts, he was just kind of like, but didn't base his decision on that. Where did you find out afterwards that surprised you the most? What did you find out afterward that surprised you the most? Things from the first trial. We didn't see the majority of the people that they called as witnesses. And I could see how the prosecution did not want us to see certain witnesses, how it would have skewed our judgment on things. And then just to hear everybody talking about what they thought happened inside the house or what they thought really went on with John O'Keefe. Were there any confrontations or raised tempers in the juror's room? None whatsoever. I love that. Wow. So everybody got along? Yes, we did. It was comfortable. It was comfortable to come to every day. Were there any aha moments? Well, I'd say the biggest thing for me was the inverted Sallyport video of Karen Reed's car being brought into the garage as evidence. That was a real aha moment for me, for the defense. I was like, oh, now I see. I love that shit. I love that shit. Dude, I love that shit. I was, most of you already know this, man, but I was, and I'm still so grateful, lucky enough to be in the courtroom for that aha moment in the first trial. Like, I was so lucky to be there for that. It's crazy. So crazy. And you could see the jury react to it in the first trial, right? So here's this guy going, oh shit, man. Yeah, that was fucked up. What's up, Microdots? I like, yeah, that shit was fucking crazy. David Yannetti, I'll never forget how excited he was when they dropped that bomb. I'll never forget it. How about the missing ring footage from John O'Keefe's house? I was still open-minded. If the prosecution had something, I was open to seeing it, but the amount of evidence that was stacking up for Karen was getting higher. And then seeing the video of them putting the car on the tow truck and the red light on the passenger side lit up, I was like, are we serious? The exact piece that's supposed to have been found in the snow is lit up. That gave me the insight that she didn't hit him. And then all the other forensic people, not one definitively said, this is how she hit him. There was no consistent evidence, even with his injuries. Where was the bruising on his legs? There was none. So yeah, he could have got clipped, but to sustain an injury that makes you hit your head that hard, where you get a laceration to your skull, come on. I'm quoting. That's what he said. Come on. Like, I love this. I want to read that again. Seeing the video of them putting the car on the tow truck and the red light on the passenger side lit up. I was like, are we serious? The exact piece that's supposed to have been found in the snow is lit up. That gave me the insight that she didn't hit him. And then all the other forensic people, not one definitively said, this is how she hit him. Think about that. That's fucking amazing. So here is this juror, and he is saying, I fucking saw that fucking that tail light light up. And this is when Officer Barros is there, the fucking hero that he is, and he testifies that there was a crack. It was not broken. So he's like, I saw that taillight light up. There's no way that taillight that they pulled out of an evidence bag was found in the snow from that accident before they towed this car. Didn't happen. Dude, for real, dude. Fucking for real. Like it's crazy. Proctor should have charges. It's crazy. And speaking of Proctor people, Microdots, if you're not subscribed to Microdots Patreon, dude, you guys are missing out. Microdots just dropped a new video on Michael Proctor. And this thing's like almost an hour long, dude. Okay. I haven't watched it yet. You know how I do. I have access to it because I'm subscribed to Micronuts Patreon. I haven't watched it yet, but when it's uploaded on YouTube and it's there for a couple days, we'll go over it. But in the meantime, if you don't want to wait until then, and I don't suggest that you do, subscribe to Microdots Patreon and get access to that shit now, because I mean, like, why else would you not want to have early access to, like, the quickest access to Microdots' content? Why wouldn't you want that? Besides my personal reason for it. I just like to hang out with you guys and watch that shit. You know what I mean? I like to react with you guys. And there you go. And Microdots just dropped the link. Patreon.com. It should show up here. I'll do it. If I can find my Patreon app. I know it's in here. Here we go. And all right. So here's the link to the video, but you won't be able to access it until you sub and until you subscribe to Microdots' Patreon. So I'm dropping it in the chat here. Click on that shit and join Microdots' Patreon. And it's a really cool community too, because, you know, he has chats. He does his own FOIA requests, and he discusses these things in a forum in there with his Patreon members. And it's just really cool. It's a really cool fucking hangout spot. So I really recommend that you join Microdots' Patreon. Oh my God, man. Whew. Where's the sun? Oh, just got shivery in here because of the shade. All right, so there's my little infomercial for Microdots. Let's move on with the interview here. How about the missing ring footage from John O'Keefe's house? Oh yeah, I already read that. Yeah, so that's crazy. I mean, he's like, yeah. So then I'm going to read this part again too. He was like, are we serious? The exact piece that's supposed to have been found in the snow is lit up. that gave me the insight that she didn't hit him. And then all the other forensic people, not one definitively said this is how she hit him. There was no consistent evidence, even with his injuries. Where was the bruising on his legs, he says? There was none. So yeah, he could have got clipped, but to sustain any injury that makes you hit your head so hard that you get a laceration to your skull, come on. Did Michael Proctor's behavior or his text factor into the deliberations at all? Great question. No, I had to push past a lot of that, even though it was really, really unprofessional. I had to look at it as a lot of locker room talk. Yeah, you have bias, but just because you're biased doesn't mean the person hit them or whatever, right? It just seemed like a bunch of unprofessional state troopers, but I couldn't let that taint my opinion a certain way. I love that too. I love that. Because he was like, that doesn't prove that he framed Karen Reed. It just proves that he's a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you're a piece of shit, it doesn't make you a murderer. It doesn't make you a thief. It doesn't make you an embezzler. It doesn't make you a kidnapper. You know what I mean? So he's saying, I could not let that distract me from the actual evidence that determined whether she hit him with the car or not. The defense is claiming she did not hit him with the vehicle. Not it was an accident. They're claiming she did not hit him with the vehicle. So I need to pay attention to the evidence that dictates to me whether or not she was hit with this vehicle. Did the whole experience color your opinion of law enforcement, the judicial system, or police in general? He says, I mean, that's two parts. One, I wish a lot of people were able to take the approach that I and the 17 other jurors took, how seriously we were seeking justice. Then there's regular Joe like me. There's a regular Joe like me. I don't have money like that to withstand 2 trials. There are going to be a lot of people worried that this is our justice system and how easily it can be swayed. So right there, this is a guy who's looking at this from the perspective of, I couldn't have this kind of fucking defense. If I was accused of the shit that Karen Reed is being accused of, I couldn't afford this kind of defense. But it didn't sway anything. It didn't affect anything. Again, he focused solely on the evidence. He didn't let that distract him. He didn't sit there and look at Karen Reed like, oh my God, another privileged white lady who can afford all these lawyers, and all the white people in Massachusetts want to throw her money for a defense. He didn't do that at all. He was like, I mean, this is all stuff that I could have an opinion about, but it's irrelevant to what I'm here to do. Did you and the jury think, and the rest of the jury think there was someone else who could have done it? He says, I mean, I can't say. There was something else that happened to him. We wanted to get into that part, trying to solve it, but that was not going to happen. It just, I just made sure we stuck to the path, so we didn't go down all these rabbit holes endlessly. It wasn't our job to solve the case. Our job was to look at the evidence and see if she is guilty of this crime. Love that. Fucking love that. Enter Turtle Boy. Enter Turtle Boy. Did Turtle Boy help or hurt her case? He says, I didn't know about Turtle Boy until 2 weeks before the end of the trial. I didn't know the impact of who he was. And again, they told me about Turtle Boy and I still didn't look it up. So no. Yeah, he was like, yeah, I didn't give a shit at the time. It wasn't something, again, he was seeing anything that could potentially distract him as something that was going to distract him. You know what I mean? This guy is great. What was the shadiest thing to you? The Albert selling the house, the deleted texts, the missing dog. He goes, the dog was probably number 2. Number 1 was selling the house. Your family house? Like, why? And then you sold it for less than market value? What? Exactly. See, I love that shit. This guy is paying attention to all the right shit. Ultimately, what made the murder and manslaughter charges not meet the burden of proof while the operating under the influence charge did? Well, there's no collision. There's no manslaughter. So the way he words it here, I should read that better. He says, well, there's no collision. There's no manslaughter. No one felt that there was any evidence of that. We even wrote out the definition of everything. Reasonable cause, manslaughter, OUI. We had all the definitions on the walls so that anytime we got stuck, we could refer to them. I love that shit. This guy's a fucking boss. Are you still in touch with any of the other jurors? Yes, we were supposed to get together for a reunion soon. But we all have each other's numbers and everything. Was there ever any intimidation involved? Did you ever feel like either side was a threat? No, but there was a lot of journalists across the way just looking at us. It wasn't intimidating, but I just knew they were looking for any little thing like, oh, I saw a juror do this. So I tried to stay stone-faced, and my eyes were on the lawyers or the witnesses or the judge. This guy is absolutely spitting facts because I saw this guy with my own 2 eyes. I sat in that fucking gallery and I watched that dude. He didn't take any notes. He didn't have a notebook. He just stared stone-faced. No reaction to anything. None. Brian Albert couldn't be as stone-faced as this dude. Is there anything that you do differently? No. After looking at everything online and even just hearing other people, nothing really. I love it. How has this affected your life? In large part, it hasn't really affected my life. Even during the trial, I still went to work. If it was a day off from court, I was back working with the kids. I mean, certain people, friends, family, coworkers, and their wives want to know my input on things. How did you feel about X, Y, or Z? But other than that, it was just an experience for me. Looking at the judicial system, I realized it only takes a couple of people and you can make anyone look guilty. Wow. Yeah. Great point. Yeah, it only takes a couple of people and that's a powerful thing. Think about that. It only takes a couple of people and you can make anyone look guilty. So I love how this guy was just very stoic. I find a very stoic side to this guy because he's looking at this and he's like, okay, I'm going to find the best possible experience out of this that I can get. How do I experience this as best as I can? How can I get the most out of this? And he's sitting here and he's thinking, all right, well, obviously his thought process leads him to this observation. He's sitting there thinking about it like, wow, really, there was no, it just takes one witness to sound fucking convincing enough, and you could convince people like me that they're guilty, if they're good enough, if they do it right, you could absolutely do that, especially when you know that they're not guilty. You know, they can make you question it. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's the thing is the defense is supposed to do that. And people get hung up on that and forget. I love you too. Thanks for loops. People get hung up on that shit and they forget that, you know, that burden of proof is on the prosecution and not the defense. And it's actually the defense's job to make you doubt what the prosecution is trying to convince you of. That's the defense's job. But there was a different vibe here. There's a different vibe in this case. The vibe that I have always observed myself. And there's a lot of, and from the beginning, there was a lot of more pressure for the defense to provide evidence than there was for the prosecution to provide evidence. As a matter of fact, the prosecution seemed to be having their hands held while withholding evidence, while withholding discovery that Karen Reed has a right to. I believe it's her Fourth Amendment right. So that right there, if you're a juror and you're thinking, well, what happened to innocent until proven guilty? What's going on here? This thing has, whether you like it or not, and you can't say that shit when dealing with a court of law because it's almost a sacred place, because the basis of what our American justice system is based on, what it's based on, is purity. The purity of the truth and the respect for that, the almost worship of it. This is what John Adams had in mind. This is what was in his heart. This is what was in our forefathers' hearts. Was to create a justice system that was boiled down to its purest form in order to find the fairest way to get to the truth. A system to where if you're a court officer of any capacity, any type of court officer whatsoever, lawyer, judge, whatever, any type of court officer, if your goal is not in the pursuit of the truth, you're executing your job in an unethical way, in an unethical fashion. If you are not with the utmost purest intention of getting to the truth, then you are acting unethically. That's what our justice system is designed. That's how it's designed, is so that every person working in a case, they're working together to get to the truth. That's why they refer to each other as my brother in the law, because they're supposed to be working towards the same goal, getting to the truth. And so when a juror understands this, especially a foreman, it's absolutely refreshing. It's incredibly refreshing. Because God knows that this case needed that. This case needed that. In that jury, we needed that so bad. This is why the jury is so important. In case you're getting fucking railroaded, you've got a jury of your peers to decide whether or not you're guilty of a crime or not. That is an absolutely beautiful detail in our justice system when you think about it. When you really think about it, is that random people are called, they are questioned, they're chosen, agreed upon by every party, and then the accused is in their hands. Throughout the process, how did you decompress? He said, well, I go to the gym and I watch TV. I play video games. Right on, man. I feel that shit. So what was the emotion when you finally reached a verdict? It was such a sense of release. It was such a sense of relief. And when I was finally able to say it, it was just mixed feelings because somebody was going to leave with a sour taste in their mouth, right? But at the same time, justice needed to be done, and I didn't want someone going to jail who shouldn't have. And that's it, man. That's it. That's how he ended that interview. I love that. Yeah, this guy is absolutely fantastic. Charlie DeLoach. People. Charlie DeLoach. Let's give him a round of applause, bro. My bad. Okay, good. Let me see something else here. I know there was other stuff I wanted to go over. I mean, I've only been live for an hour. Yeah, no, I love that. And I hope that he goes on Turtle Boy's channel. I hope Turtle Boy gets to interview him because he said he didn't know anything about him. So who better? Oh my God, I'm so glad. Excuse me. Oh my God, dude, this is so funny. Sorry, I'm looking through X and I'm trying to see if there's other stuff. Oh yeah, I was gonna go over some more of the Karen Reed interview. Oh wow, okay. Hold on. This dude has been posting. I knew there was something else. Okay. Brian Walsh appealed the trial verdict. That's pretty crazy. Okay, so Bukkake filed this. I don't have the whole thing. But Bukkake filed this. Defendants Yuri Buchanan assented to motion for extension of time. The defendant Yuri Buchanan hereby asks that the court extend the time within which he must file a responsive pleading to and including January 23rd, 2026. Counsel Michael Glennon is currently on trial that commenced on January 8th, 2026 in the matter of Minoki, whatever. Okay, so he's just asking, for an extension of time here. Oh, yeah, there's a couple of things. I wanted to show this too. Because our man, the cerebral ninja,
it all just clicked. All of a sudden,
made an appearance on television the other day. Yesterday, I think, or the day before.
There was also a
I can't skip this ad though. Sorry.
I think it was the glasses. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I need full screen. The hell just happened, dude? Okay.
Welcome back. After decades in office, Norfolk County DA Michael Morrissey has decided not to run again. He will be stepping down at the end of his current term.
Morrissey has been heavily criticized for how he handled the prosecutions of Karen Reed. NBC 10's Robert Goulston is live outside Norfolk Superior Court, where Morrissey's biggest cases were prosecuted, including Karen Reed. Robert, I understand you spent the day talking to attorneys and police officers who worked with Morrissey.
Glenn, and as we all know, DA Michael Morrissey has been the top prosecutor here for 15 years in Norfolk County. He has tried some very big cases, including that recent case with Brian Walsh. But the biggest one that is putting scrutiny on his legacy is the two prosecutions of Karen Reed. But some people say that is not the full picture of his tenure. DA Michael Morrissey supervised prosecutions in Norfolk County for 15 years, including the recent conviction of Brian Walsh, who killed and dismembered his wife. He announced he is not running for re-election, writing in a statement, "I ran for this office to stand up for victims and give them a voice. I am proud to have done so for countless victims over the years and am deeply grateful for the trust placed in me."
He was often at the scene, and we would discuss what we knew.
Retired Norwood Police Chief Bill Brooks worked alongside Morrissey for the 12 years he ran his department.
His goal, his stated goal, was to stand up a coalition on substance abuse in every city and town in the county. And he said, I will fund it, I will give you money, I will guide you.
In recent years, Morrissey came under fire for his handling of multiple cases, including Karen Reed's murder trials.
We've got a district attorney who has a war chest despite not having any opposition.
Reed, who was later acquitted of murdering her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, criticized DA Morrissey on a recent podcast. She says Morrissey's politics played a role in her case.
It's dangerous, and I believe that is why I got where I was and why I got into this position, and why, until it changes, there will be other Karen Reeds.
Attorney David Yannetti, a former Middlesex prosecutor and one of Karen Reed's defense attorneys, says Morrissey's decision to retry Reed spoke volumes.
It seems to me that coming out within minutes after the mistrial to say we are retrying this means that they just had blinders on.
And Morrissey will step down after.
Is there more of David Yannetti's interview?
People running for the office. Morrissey has not endorsed anyone at this point. The election is in November. We're live tonight in Dedham. Robert Goulston, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, Robert, thank you. That sets up well this conversation with NBC 10 commentator Sue O'Connell.
Oh, God.
Obviously, DA Morrissey, Sue, was under incredible scrutiny for both the Karen Reed and Sandra Birchmore cases, quite honestly. You've said the DA's decision not to run is not a shock to you, but you were surprised while covering the Reed trial that there's this general lack of knowledge among the public on what exactly a DA does.
Yeah, Glenn, I talked about it at length around the newsroom. I'm sure it bored everyone to death, but so many people I spoke with at the Free Karen Reed movement area were surprised to learn that district attorneys are elected officials, especially here in Massachusetts and certainly in many states and in Norfolk County.
Wow. Like, leave it to Sue O'Connell, who's to be passive aggressive as fuck. Y'all not see what she's doing right here? Y'all not see this shit? Passive aggressive as fuck. Because those very same people that she's talking about rip her apart all over Twitter all the time. And she hates it. And she's sensitive as fuck about it. She gets all pissy about it all the fucking time. And so now what she's doing, she takes this opportunity that where she can add some insight here, but she decides to be condescending, passive aggressively condescending as fuck, implying that the people who support Karen Reed in front of the courthouse every day are stupid and don't know what a DA is and don't know about having to. I mean, look at Scott McGinnis. Scott McGinnis eats, sleeps, and breathes this shit, dude. You don't think he fucking knows? You don't think he's out there educating people and talking to people? He's out there all fucking day. I mean, so she's passive aggressively condescends and makes the fucking the boots on the ground people look stupid. Unreal. Like, oh, this lady just gets on my nerves sometimes, man.
County, for example, DA Michael Morrissey has been elected 4 times and often ran unopposed, winning well over 95% of the vote in every general election. So why didn't people know that he was an elected official? Well, likely because many Massachusetts DAs rarely face primary or serious general election challengers. So voters seldom see them campaign or debate or explain their decisions. And when
maybe people weren't fucking sick of it until this Karen Reed bullshit happened. Did you ever think of that? Fake journalism at its finest. Happy to be me. Exactly. Facts. Fucking facts. But she'll even tell you, I'm not a journalist. I'm a commentator. Okay. Like, that's my Sue O'Connell impression, by the way. I'm not a journalist. I'm a commentator. I know that it's not exactly accurate, but it's accurate to me. That's just how I see her. It's how I visualize her when she talks. That's why I say I'm not a journalist. I'm an independent commentator. An independent commentator. That is what I do here. This lady is. I'm not a journalist. I'm a commentator. Why do I sound like one of Fletch's characters in the movie Fletch? I don't know.
elections are quiet, accountability is quiet too. And cases like this make clear how much power DAs have over fairness and outcomes in the justice system, and why voters in every single county need to stay engaged and hold them accountable.
It'll be a hotly watched election
And
this
we'll be
November in
covering
Norfolk County for sure. Sue
Absolutely.
O'Connell, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
This lady, dude, unreal. Unreal. Is there like a longer? Let me see here. Jackie Atkins. She's a verbal blogger, right? Thank you so much. Oh, wait. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, that's all there is. That's what I just went over. I was hoping to see a longer interview with the cerebral ninja. Yeah, this is all like years ago, and okay. Yeah, I was hoping there was a longer interview with him. Oh, you sent it to my email. Okay, let me see. You sure did. All right. Thank you so much for sending me that. I appreciate it.
Years.
With my new smile, I can conquer anything.
All right. You get the full screen here. And
Rediscover your smile at Pearl Dental.
I'm declaring a mistrial in this case.
The mistrial,
not guilty,
and then the acquittal of Karen Reed when prosecutors decided to try her
Diane G,
again.
member for 26 months.
Her supporters who say she never should have been charged with
Willie.
murder in the death of her
Thank
boyfriend,
you.
Boston police officer John O'Keefe. District Attorney Michael Morrissey faced backlash for spending millions to retry the case despite a heavily scrutinized police investigation.
A fish rots from the head down, and the district attorney's office, the actual district attorney, is responsible for everybody who works under him.
David Yannetti represented Karen.
Yeah, Sue
Reed. He questions.
I'm just kidding. That had nothing to do with what she was talking about.
Questions the motivation to try Reed a second time.
I think that also gave the impression that this was more of a vendetta than a prosecution.
Morrissey stayed silent after Reed's acquittal, but did speak briefly about the case after securing a conviction in the murder trial of Brian Walsh last month.
Sometimes you don't like what a jury has to say, but that's our system of justice.
On a podcast released today, Reed talked about her prosecution before Morrissey's announcement. She says politics played a role.
We've got a district attorney who has a war chest despite not having any opposition. It's dangerous, and I believe that is why I got where I was and why I got into this position.
Morrissey's office also took heat for the investigation into Sandra Birchmore, whose death was initially ruled a suicide before a former Stoughton police officer was charged in her killing. Morrissey would not sit down for an interview, but in a statement says, being district attorney is about pursuing justice with integrity and fairness. I am incredibly proud of the meaningful work our office has accomplished.
And this election, it is coming up in November. So far, 4 people have indicated they will run for this seat to replace the district attorney. Live outside the courthouse in Dedham tonight, John Atwater, WCVB News Center 5.
Thank you so much, Meg. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'd love to hear David, man. Love to hear David speak. I'm not going to keep this a very long stream. I really didn't have that much to talk about. But let me see here real quick. Oh, man, what time is it? Ooh, man. We might be doing a petty stream following this one. We might just do one, but not on any of the more recent usual suspects. Not on any of them. There's something else going down today that that I feel a little compelled to stream. And I feel like it merits members only. Or I'll just stay live now and do it. Maybe I won't even switch to members only for this one. Maybe I'll just do a petty stream on the house for this one. Because this one isn't drama. Like, if it's drama related, because even my petty streams aren't even really drama. Like, they're just kind of drama related. We just laugh. We have a good time. That's all we do. We're not trashing anybody or, trying to, convince anybody of anything. We're just making observations and laughing. That's all we do. So, this is entire community related, affects us all. So maybe I'll just stay live for a while. I may have to take off. I am going to have to actually step away for a few minutes. I'll play some music or something while I do that, but not yet. Not yet. All right. What I am going to do in the meantime, though, is I am going to open the phone lines. So feel free to call in. Oh, man. Yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. There we go. Sorry, I was studying my lines.
Call from Jandine.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Call from
Jeremy.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Will?
Yes.
Sorry, it was taking a while, so I was like about to check the YouTube feed,
Mm-hmm.
and then I hear you're on, and I'm thinking, wait, did he say that on my phone or on his stream? Sorry. I'm thinking, wait, every time you say the phones are open, there's such a long pause. I just felt compelled, like, I have your card saved in my phone, so I can just type Glare and hit go and call you instantly.
Well, and now here you are. What's up, Jeremy?
Oh, just saying hello. Jeremy from Sacramento.
Yeah, what's
been loving the petty streams.
Right on.
I laugh my ass off. I love how you handle it, because obviously there's nothing you can do. People are gonna hate, right? I just love how you just laugh and you're like, just so tickled at how these people are, you know, obsessed with, like, oh my God, can you believe what the Glarus said today? Yeah. You know, it's like, yeah, so what? It's like, get over it. What?
Well,
So we love it.
How else
because
am I supposed to handle it? You know what I mean? Like you spend all your content talking about me. Right on. Cool.
or what's the deal? What's the deal with Brian? Like, I caught you. I laid the trap and you fell. Like,
I mean, how? Right? What are you supposed to do with? What am I supposed to do? Get mad? Like, that's too funny to get mad at. It's too fucking hilarious.
No, and we're thoroughly entertained by it. It's great, and then obviously this Karen's interview. Oh my God, it was so great. I mean, and I can't wait to hear, you know, the stuff that they weren't allowed to put in the trial. Right? We're all just like, oh, what new piece of information?
Yeah.
So,
No, I love that shit.
Yeah. So keep it up, because I love it. I love when you get more memberships. Like, what, don't make fun of me.
No, I love that.
Here,
it's so funny, dude. Like the fucking haters on Twitter are just like, oh my God, look, somebody put like this. I reposted it because it's like, I'm like, how is this criticism? They're like, look at every other stream he does is a members only stream. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how is it bad somehow that I am staying consistent with content for my paid members? How is that a bad business model? What am I doing wrong? Is that bad that I'm...
Can you believe he's making a living? Oh my God.
Oh my God. Can you believe that he's actually giving his paid members their money's worth? Unreal. What a grifter. Like, okay. Okay. What's up, Bob?
Even the haters will pay it, right? They'll be like, damn it, I'm gonna pay anyway, so I can hear what are they talking about me? And then of course the next day they talk about you, like, oh God, here we go.
It's so funny.
So it's kind of a never-ending feedback loop. Entertainment, like,
and
keep us busy.
The thing is it'll die out. You know, my petty streams will slowly die out once they catch on, and then just move on and actually start making content worth fucking watching. Like, I'm not gonna just unless Brian has a fucking straight up meltdown, I'm not gonna stream his shit and start trashing him for just trying to like make worthwhile content. Why would I do that? You know what I mean?
And the key distinction also, when even when what you're playing of him talking about you, you're laughing, but you're like, bro, I have no issues with you. This is funny to me. Like, I don't hate you. I want you to succeed.
I do.
You know, and it's like, and he's on the other hand going, you know, you could tell he's like, damn that glitter. So it's like, wait, who's the better guy here?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you go. I'll keep it brief. I just wanted to. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun stuff, man.
Absolutely. All right. Catch you later.
All right. Take care, bud. Later, Jeremy.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Call from Janine.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Janine.
How we doing, Janine?
Good. I watched the other day, and you said you were a big SVU fan.
Mm-hmm. You better believe it.
Okay. Well, fun fact for you: my sister is married to Captain Cragen.
Captain Cragen? Yeah, he just died. The character, anyway.
Oh, the character. Yeah. No,
yeah.
That's my brother-in-law. Yep.
Your brother-in-law is Captain Cragen. I love it. I miss him so much.
Yeah, I know, and tell you he's serious on the show most of the time, but
Well,
you know we have
he's an
family
actor.
gatherings and we've
He's
had
an
him
actor.
over,
I
like,
imagine he's a fucking cut up. Yeah.
Oh, he is. He's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. The same thing is
he's very
Christopher Maloney too. Like he's actually a better comedic actor than he is a dramatic actor. Like if you watch, he have you ever seen Wet Hot American Summer? He was in that.
No.
Yeah, he was in that. Stabler was Christopher Maloney, and he kept fucking the fridge. He said, "I'm gonna go hump the fridge." He just kept saying, "I'm gonna go hump the fridge." It's weird. And he was Freak Show in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Like he was Freak Show, and that shit was hilarious. That's one of my favorite fucking cameos I've ever seen in any movie ever.
Well, Dan was also in. He played. What was his name? Fred Flintstone's boss, Mr. Slate.
Yeah.
In the Flintstone movie, yeah, he played Mr. Slate.
I didn't see the Flintstone movie.
Yeah. It was so funny. Yeah, but he's like that. He's very quick-witted. He can, snap out a witty comment. So we had a lot of fun with him coming over with the rest of the family all getting together for Christmas. And we were videotaping, and one of the little kids spilled a glass of milk, and everybody goes, "Oh!" And Dan turns around to the camera and goes, "We'll be back in a moment." Like it's a commercial. Yeah, he's very funny.
Right on. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. All right, Janine, I'm gonna take the next caller. Thank you for calling. Appreciate that.
That's fine. All right, love you, Will.
You too. Bye-bye.
Call from
Bob.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Will Blair, how you doing? It's your old buddy, Bob Cosgrove.
It's specially appointed prosecutor Robert Cosgrove, everybody.
How's it going there, buddy?
It's going well, buddy.
Yeah. So what are we talking about tonight? Rotten mango and
I hadn't gone over that. I don't even know if I'm going to go over the rest of that interview. I mean, there's already Aiden's been going over it, maybe, I don't know, if people want me to, I will, you know what I mean? But
yeah, she's got almost 7 million subscribers. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
But I think she did a pretty good job, with the exception of a couple stupid questions, like what's your favorite color? Mine's blue.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that didn't happen.
I liked her style, man. I liked her style. Like the trailer for it was really like off the wall and bizarre. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at right now? And I like that. I like that kind of weird shit. And she also has like she also had that disclaimer across the screen about the 227 search and everything like that, which I thought was really creative the way she did that. It's really funny.
Yeah, I thought she did a pretty good job. I mean, better than the other people had done.
Yeah.
Anyways, where was I going to go with this? I don't know. Karen bringing up the Chloe thing about her being in New Hampshire, but the dog wasn't in New Hampshire. I thought it was in Vermont. I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, maybe she was just thinking of something else and got confused. I do that all the time. And even with shit that I know really well, you know what I mean? Like it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it happens whenever, we're thinking about, in Massachusetts, anything north of here being Vermont or New Hampshire or Maine, we get that screwed up. So, I kind of get that.
Yeah, for sure. So how's everything else going, man?
Anyway.
You're how's Mrs. Cossey?
No, she's great. She's in the basement. She's ringing the bell when she needs something, and I may or may not get down there. So she's doing okay. I mean, last I checked, anyway.
Okay. When was the last time you checked?
I think 2 days ago.
You don't think she might be a little hungry or thirsty?
No, it might have been.
We know she's thirsty.
It might be 3.
We know she's thirsty. We know that.
She has I think she has a water tap down there.
Oh, does she? But
I think.
Isn't she like immobile?
Well, she's semi-immobile. However you want to classify that, but yeah, pretty much immobile.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does she have to do to get water?
Well, she rings the bell a bunch, and I try to do my best, but I'm a man of advanced years. I can only do what I can do. I try to get down there whenever I can, Will Clara, if that's what you're asking.
All right. Yeah, I don't even care anymore. R.I.P. Mrs. Cossey.
Yeah,
me
neither.
So the hearing coming up, man. Are you ready? And you are past your deadline again.
Yeah, but you see how nobody cares that I go past my deadlines, and I don't really either. Listen, I've been kind of begging to be thrown off the case, but they don't seem to want to do it.
Right. It seems like you're trying to maintain professionalism, but you're hinting in between the lines of your responses to motions that you would like to spend your remaining advanced years doing anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be gardening, and you know what I mean.
Gardening,
doing gardening.
Okay.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Gatuni has it out for me, and we'll see what happens with that.
Gatuni, huh? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on with Gatuni.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't like all this stuff lately. We're gonna call her Lindsay because she's helping in the cause.
Fuck out of here. She's fucking
okay?
Gatuni. She's Gatuni.
She's Gatuni.
She's Gatuni.
Don't anybody ever tell me different, God damn it.
Now I can be swayed. I'd like to have her on the show, and I'd like to ask her some questions, but I don't think she'll want to answer the questions I have to ask her. But yeah, she's Gatuni, But like
she's
I said,
Gatuni.
I could be swayed.
I'm tired.
I could be swayed, but it comes with conditions. It comes with conditions.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all I'm saying. I can jump on this whole Gatuni's great bandwagon with everybody else, but it comes with conditions. I'm not there until those conditions are met.
Yeah, screw that. She's Gatuni.
She's Gatuni.
She goes back and forth. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Don't screw that shit. She's Gatuni. Okay, that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you agree with me,
dude. First of all, let me clear the air on this one right here. That's never gonna happen. Like never. I am too scared. I'm yeah, dude. That I've seen what lies beneath, and no way. That I could never be swayed on. I could never be swayed on.
Yep. Well, it's great talking with you, Will Glara.
Yeah, you too.
And thanks for having me on your presentation. I really appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks for calling. We love you.
All right, sir.
All right. Especially appointed prosecutor Robert Cosgrove, everybody.
Call from
Sherry.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Will. It's Sherry from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Sherry. Lancaster,
How are you
Pennsylvania.
tonight?
Doing well. How are
Yeah.
you?
We're in the Amish country.
Amish country. Are you Amish? No, you wouldn't be
country.
watching me or talking on the phone if you were Amish.
Well, that's not true. I
No?
could be talking on the phone because they're allowed to talk on phone if it's for business.
Okay, but this isn't business.
This is all fun.
Mhm.
I just wanted to call and let you know the Rotten Mangoes interview. I think that was more geared towards women, that some men are having a little harder time understanding it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think you're right. I mean, that's why I laughed.
Yeah.
That's why I laughed, because like everyone was so appalled over the whole, chancletas and shit. The fucking when she had to wear fucking chanclas, slippers. You know what I mean?
It's just
and
yeah,
it was just the slippers. It was just like she goes, oh. I just thought that was fucking hilarious. Like her reaction to that.
The one question that Stephanie asked was if there were 5 things that were important to you and that you could take them with you, what would they be? Did you hear that question?
No, I didn't.
And it's more of a question for a woman because it's a sentimental
Yeah, they're like
thing.
it's like a Cosmo interview kind of question.
Right.
I got it.
And her big thing,
And that's
her
what
big
and ladies
thing-
want to hear that shit. Pete, there's women out there that
Exactly.
love
And-
Karen Reed and they want to hear what Karen Reed is, what's her
And-
morning routine and what does she do to
Exactly.
unwind and what does she find comfy and what is her guilty pleasure of food and all that kind of bullshit.
I have to say, I was moved by the one thing that she said that was important to her was that someone gathered some yellow roses from John's grave and made her a rosary out of it. And the rosary is very, very important to her, as is her faith and her family's faith
For
too.
sure. Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
yeah.
do believe
I'm not saying that the interview didn't contain very, very important questions and very insightful answers from Karen Reed.
Information.
I'm not taking away from that at all. But I am agreeing with you that it was definitely more geared towards a female demographic because most true crime is. So
Yep. Yeah, poor Turtle Boy, his head was going to pop off trying to understand some of these questions.
I didn't watch. Yeah, I ended
he
up
was
watching,
hilarious.
Yeah, I watched.
Oh my
I watched
goodness.
like the first half of his stream, and then I ended up finishing the show that I was watching on Netflix when he started going into the Karen Reed stuff.
And you know who else I'm enjoying is Billy Bush on Hot Mics.
Oh man,
Did you watch him and Alan Reed?
Yeah,
Alan Jackson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did.
Billy's got a lot of good stuff coming on, and I really encourage everyone to go over and subscribe to him.
Billy Bush is dope as fuck, dude. I love Billy Bush. I really do.
Yeah.
Like he's like I really enjoy his channel. I like that he goes on at the time of day that he does. It's like I'm in just the right mood that time of day for his content, if that makes sense. You know?
Well, he's actually on twice a day. I didn't know that. He comes on like at 1 o'clock, and then he goes to the studio where, did you know that Howie Mandel is the studio?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I watched this thing, you know, there's this whole awkward rumor that Billy Corrigan and Bill Burr are half brothers, right? Billy Corrigan, the front man for the Smashing Pumpkins, is half brothers with Bill Burr, the comedian, a Canton local, by the way. A Canton High alumni. And he and there's this rumor, and somehow Howie Mandel managed to get the two of them and trap them on this thing and in his studio, and then Billy Bush just showed up, kind of took over because Howie Mandel had to take off for a second, and so Billy Bush sits in and he starts, you know, just riffing with the two of them. Like he goes, sits down, and Bill Burr's like, "Who the fuck is this guy now? Who the?"
I really do like Billy Bush. He's a good guy.
And they're just like, and Billy Bush is just like, yeah, the three Billies, Billy Corrigan, and Billy Bush, three Billies.
Yep. And I encourage a lot of your viewers to go over and subscribe. I really enjoy him. And I like 2 weeks ago, I would have never thought to go over and subscribe to his page, but he's covering some really good stuff. Just not Karen Reed stuff. He's covering Alan and other things too.
Dude, this guy, he's made a name for himself with, you know, and he's made friends with Hollywood celebrities and you know, he's a real celebrity journalist.
But he got shunned. That's why he got
canceled over the whole Trump
he's begging
thing,
for 100,000 followers. He got shunned. He got screwed.
He'll get there, man. He'll get back
there.
Yeah.
But it's going to take people like us helping him get there.
For sure. And it's going to take he's just got to keep putting that content out, keep getting those great guests on, keep being him. You know, like I love that he's not afraid to just be himself. He's like, this is my thing. And that's exactly, in my opinion, how you should approach a YouTube channel. This is your totally independent. You make the rules. You do what you want. Fucking be yourself and roll the dice.
You don't, and you don't worry about what people are writing in your comments. You know, if you're hurting their feelings and stuff like that. If you're hurting their feelings, tell them to go away.
Yeah.
Go to another channel.
Yeah, I think I really hope that he grows and gets back to but this time, like I said, on his terms. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I want to see that happen for him, because I think he seems like a really cool, genuine guy.
He had it all. He was on NBC, you know.
Yeah.
He was like he wasn't as big as Matt Lauer, but it was the same exact thing. And he got screwed. Let's just face it. He got screwed.
Yeah. I mean,
he got screwed because he was a man. That's why.
Yeah. It's some bullshit, you know.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love his dynamic with his producer Steve. And he gives Steve a lot of freedom too, which is really cool. It shows how laid back and cool Billy is. Lately I've just been really fascinated with his channel and just watching it and enjoying
And the way he interacts with his guests, he makes them so comfortable. You know,
sure.
You know that they're not holding back on what they have to say.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to him being a lot more successful.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm gonna let you go because I'm sure there's a lot of other people trying to call in and talk to you.
All right, Sherry. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
All right, you take care.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that's actually going to be it for the calls, because we're going to switch to a little something here. All right. So,
okay, you still there?
Yep, still here.
We lost you.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sure you get a lot of information from your audience too. I
so
just think
Plevin has Krusty and on and supposedly has his big bombshell. Breaking news on Karen Reed. Federal connection found. So yeah, we're gonna check this out for a little bit before I wrap this up. Let's see what they have to say about this, because supposedly Krusty Panties has a bombshell. Holy shit. Amshay gifted 5 memberships. Now, I'm not going to make this one members only. I'm not trying to shill members only. If you guys want to become members, obviously, that's great. I'm not going to be upset at you. But I'm not going to switch this to members only. We're just going to have General Petty here. This is just going to be fun. But thank you, Am. Amchi. Thank you. Unreal. All right. Oh, what's up, Erica Walsh? No worries.
I just think it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the best way. You know, there are people out there that know things, right? And so I think that's part of trying to dig away and get at the truth of the situation in this matter and just about anything, is to, you know, enlist the public when possible and get your feelers out and see who knows what and what can be verified. And I think it really worked out well for you this time. I mean, at least pretty promising. So it's integral, really, because, you know, that's how you get to know anything, right?
Right.
Is through people.
I think that's also even just the way police often solve crimes is from
now. I'm going to
off the
be
street with information that turns out to be
what
they needed.
I'm going to be pausing this here and there. So just so you know, that's what I'll be doing to add commentary and whatnot. I gotta say though, I've been on I've been on X for maybe a total of 55 hours, something like that. I've been on X, and I caught a Spaces, I think yesterday, that True Crime Kangaroo, I think, whatever her name is. I always confuse the Aussies. But she held a Spaces and had some people on there, and Kate was one of the speakers on there. And I'm not going to lie, for a split second, I liked her. For a split second. Okay. Don't ever think that I'm forgetting how fucking awful she is. Don't ever think that. But she was making me laugh. Like, she was actually making me laugh. Because she just kept fucking with this dude. It was so funny. It was so funny. Just like I said, for a split second, I liked her because this dude was acting like a total fucking tool. And she was just fucking with him. And it was the easiest, like, it was really easy to fuck with him. And I knew exactly what she was doing the entire time. And I was cracking up.
I don't think there's too many actual, Inspector Clouseaus out there. Or maybe there's a lot of Inspector Clouseau out there. I don't think there's too many Columbos out there, breaking the case with their pet beagle. But, the other thing I want to go into is this is not the first time big information has come into my lap. And, I had no training. I'm not a journalist. And you start learning what is the best way to handle these things fairly, objectively. And the first important thing is to verify, corroborate as much of it as you can. And if you can't, don't go public with it. I broke the story that the federal investigation was over, but I had several sources coming from, let's just, not without going into that, but I was 100% verified on that one. And I broke that 2 days before Fox News did. But other stories I've had, I couldn't verify, and I never reported them. And that's just the way it goes. And maybe later on, it turned out that those stories were true.
I love how he, like, listen, dude, it doesn't matter. When people do that shit, they're like, well, I broke it 2 days before Fox News. And you've got fucking, like, how many fucking people does he have watching him right now? You've got 300 people watching you, dude. Like, that means fuck all. That means fuck all, dude. When you, like, it doesn't matter what you've done. I love when these people do that shit. They're like, well, I did this and I did that. Well, it means fuck all because nobody obviously cares. You know what I mean? Like, it literally means that nobody gives a fuck. When, I mean, you're on court TV every night during one of the most talked about trials in the world. And nobody gave a fuck about anything that you had to say.
But I don't regret trying to be responsible about it. And then also sometimes some of those stories that did turn out to be false. And of course, I made a huge mistake with reporting what Sean McDonough gave me about Chris Albert. Colin Albert. So, you know, I've made mistakes along the way too. So it's definitely a learning process. Do you want to talk about anything about that, about the process? And it's also important too that you don't want to overhype things,
right?
And we don't want to jump to conclusions. We have to be very, very careful with information we get.
Absolutely, and I think that some of the caveats that Karen Reed fell into are quite human and quite possible to do on the flip side of things too. So I know that today, Kevin, we're gonna.
I swear that Kate Peter, for some reason, I swear that she has a thing that she has to stream from the toilet. Because I swear she's shitting when she's talking. Like, whenever she's speaking publicly, whenever I see her in on a space, I hear her on a Spaces or on a YouTube channel, like, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I can only do this, and I can only be in my comfort zone if I'm pushing out a loaf. It's what I feel like. I mean, I just picture her just sitting on some fucking cold fucking throne and, just being on her phone and being like, legs fucking, feet off the ground. And it's really important to not spread misinformation. I don't understand.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck? Out a little bit, and I'm sure a couple people called me and said, oh my gosh, what do you think about? And I said, I think it's promising. It's interesting. It's definitely worth discussing. Is it a smoking gun? We have to be fair and say no, right? But it's,
I think it's about as close to a smoking gun as you can have without having a smoking gun. And I don't think I think once we give the people the information and let's let them make their own decision on it.
Right.
I think regular people will conclude very much the way we did when we looked at it, that it's more than promising, I would say. But yeah,
and I don't want to detract. I guess what I'm saying is that I like to temper it with there's still some ambiguity.
Like, all they're doing is like cushioning, like they know they have something stupid as fuck. They know they have something just that's fucking dumb. Just dumb. And so, like, they're trying to cushion it. They're giving all these disclaimers, like, it seems kind of promising, and but there's nothing. I guarantee you, there's nothing to this
Ambiguity about what this
whatever the fuck they're trying to build up.
Get ahead of ourselves here, but Free Karen Reed literally built an entire conspiracy theory around something similar but less compelling. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Less compelling. Right. We don't know. We can say as we get further into it, that Karen knew this person, but that doesn't mean there was actual communication between Karen and this person, or that doesn't mean any improper communication. So we're going to go over all before we get to it. And I'm not trying to delay it like Geraldo with Capone's treasure there, or whatever that was. But I think it's important to set up the proper context of why, when we saw this, when you and I saw this, how, why we thought there was something worth chasing here for the last few years. So what is it, just from your perspective, I've talked about it many times on the channel, that made you think there's something suspicious or improper in the relationship between Karen Reed and her team and the feds?
Pretty much immediately. And I think I told you sort of when I started to feel that way in way of the story about the
again with how nefarious Karen Reed and her team's relationship with the feds was, or whatever. Like, what are you talking about? What do you even mean? Like, if they have evidence that could exonerate an innocent woman, then they're going to cooperate. That's what they're going to do.
The Victoria Haskins, right? I'm not rehashing that, but that just for frame of reference is how early on I immediately was like, there is impropriety here. And the reason being is that this information about the federal investigation was so freely flowing from Turtle Boy, who, I mean, it took me pretty much immediately within the first blog, I knew that he was communicating with Karen Reed, like in my heart, but I couldn't prove it. So like I should say I strongly suspected it, found it to be a probability more than a possibility.
She said on like Dateline or some shit that she communicated with him. She fucking, and Aiden admits that he communicated with Karen Reed. She was a source. He was a journalist. So what?
Possibility. And I was very quickly after that, within months, really able to confirm it and then force it out into the public. Right. So I very quickly can confirm it and then force it out into the toilet. It's quick, so I knew that as this information is flowing from him, it's really flowing from her. And it is beyond bizarre for law enforcement in general, but especially the federal government, to share that much information with someone who is technically would not be a party to the case anyway, right?
Right.
And for it to be just leaked all over, there was something very odd about that, because it's like, usually you report a crime to the police, and especially if you're not a victim, right? And there's public corruption, there is no one victim, and it came out very quickly that was the unit. So she's not a victim. She was never going to be a victim in that case, but she has such a tremendous amount of information. When you report a crime, they'll walk you through the steps a lot of the time. They'll tell you what, you give them the information, and then you usually don't get a lot back. That's why we have victims' rights that entitles victims updates through the DA's office, through the courts, because, to keep the integrity of their investigations a lot of the time, a lot of information doesn't go that way. Now, if you're on the local level, you're going to get a lot more information back. The state level, once you get up to the feds, though, no, they're not telling you stuff like that, and they would have no reason to. And it was even more bizarre to me because this free flowing information is coming from someone who is still actively moving towards trial for murder, right? So like right off the bat, there was something really fishy. And then after I started speaking,
and just to parse it out too, Kate, not to interrupt, sorry, but to parse it out, it seemed like Karen was getting information from her contacts with the feds. But at the same time, we now know that there was a grand juror that was leaking information to a friend that was giving it to Turtle Boy. So do we still think that Karen was, is there still any evidence that Karen was getting any information, for instance, about when the grand jury testimony was for the witnesses? Is there still any information? Is that a dead end, or is there still any smoke there?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ambiguity with that because, and I think we can talk about this more as we make the big reveal here, but the the way that she was charged and pled was very much just, there was not a lot of information outside of she leaked this information and she shouldn't have. There's a lot of ambiguity in the fact that we know that she leaked it. And thanks to Aiden Carney's incredible ability to just self-snitch and overshare all the time, we know that that friend that she was
Wait, what happened here?
In those early days, over a dozen times each.
My bad.
Was there anything in that about an accusation of the feds leaking? Because it was, I seem to think maybe there was, but I don't remember for sure.
A lot of that came from Lindsay Gaetani.
Yes,
So,
so it might
and
not have
they
been true, but yeah.
And
Gatuni!
that's tough. And at the time, I absolutely implicitly believed her. It would appear that the police did as well. She was saying things that people knew to be true, that it wouldn't make sense that she would know. She was credible enough. And she had some texts where, it's
Because
sort
she
of
was dating
Carney.
Turtleboy at the time, and Turtleboy was
Well,
releasing
it's
it,
not
was
just,
telling
yeah,
her.
right. I'm sure that not everything that she said was a complete lie, right? I'm not just most of it. Unfortunately,
In fact, a lot. Well, but a lot of the things that she said, Turtleboy didn't refute.
Right. Well, but the thing about the basis for a lot of the
Oh my
speculation.
God! Get to the bombshell.
And
Where's the
Aiden
bombshell?
Just manufactured this to have something to impress Lindsay with. It just seems to me that
Chasing. How did she get this meeting? Was it a personal connection she had in that? You can't just walk in there and get a meeting like that. Every murder defendant would want that. Because to be able to say, if you can somehow talk the feds into unleashing the FBI, that's going to on the police that are investigating you, that's automatically going to create doubt in itself. So just the mere presence of that investigation.
Right.
So anybody would want that in theory. In theory they wouldn't if they thought the FBI was going to find more evidence that would be against them. But
these people are so fucking scared of Adam Deitch. It's so funny to me. I love that too. Because riddle me this. If Adam Deitch, if Adam Deitch is a Fed who cleared the McAlberts, closed the investigation into Michael Morrissey's office, cleared them, right? They closed the investigation. It's over. It's done. Why wouldn't they want him in office? Why are they against him running? These people are so scared of Adam Deitch. It's funny. Diane G, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Holy Jesus, folks. Yeah, I mean, if they want, if they want justice for John O'Keefe, none of this shit makes any sense. These people, they're striking channels and shit. They're trying to shut everybody up. They're throwing charges at Turtle Boy for fucking T-Rex arms. They're doing everything they fucking can to shut everybody up. But why not? It makes no sense. It makes no sense that they wouldn't support someone who has all the experience that Adam Deitch has, and supposedly he cleared Michael Morrissey and his DA's office, right? No longer under, they closed the investigation, right? It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre that they also it's very bizarre to me that they want justice for John O'Keefe, and they love and respect the fact that he was a Boston police officer, yet defend every aspect of how the investigation into his death was conducted. Explain that shit to me. Why aren't they holding Michael Proctor accountable? Why aren't these people who speak for the McAlberts, and why aren't the McAlberts themselves holding Michael Proctor accountable and holding Buchanan accountable and holding Tully accountable and holding Michael Morrissey accountable for the way that the case was prosecuted? See, these people don't even understand that they're telling us everything without telling us nothing, by telling us nothing.
But, still a pretty big thing to go after. Not anybody could have that. Not just anybody could have that kind of access. You and I couldn't. So how did Karen have that? Was it Jackson that had that kind of pull? Was it Yannetti that had kind of pull? Maybe he had, Yannetti was around long. That would have been my guess for a long time. But we're going to reveal tonight that it's probably not that. If we always
want to see
Karen have some kind of personal.
You guys want to see a little petty? Just a little taste of petty? You guys want a little taste of petty? You guys remember when I first went live? And I put a poll up. Take a look at this right here. This is live right now, by the way. What does that poll say? Who was here at the beginning of the stream? Like, oh my God. Just a little bit of petty, folks. Just a little bit of petty. That's all you get. You gotta be swimming in the bubble for free.
Connection. And the other thing is that had this been, it's a reality in life that people have access sometimes because of somebody they went to school with, or someone they're friends with, or because they have a lot of money, or their family has power. There's all kinds of reasons that.
Yeah, if you couldn't read it, he had a poll up asking if they had cell service. Oh my God, dude. The dude loves me, bro. He loves me.
Sometimes certain people have access and that regular people like us might not. And that's just the way that the world works. It's not in itself necessarily wrong or a crime that Karen had some kind of access to Josh Levy that was able to get a meeting with him. What stunk to us is the way what appeared to be a very close relationship that developed, an improper relationship between the feds and her team afterwards, which suggested that whatever initially got that meeting might have been a little bit more, because the feds seem to really, as Hank Brennan put it, put the thumbs on the scales, which is very unusual here, very unique, that they put, Josh Levy himself questioned witnesses before the grand jury here. Very, very unique and unusual, weird, wild stuff, as Johnny Carson might have said. So as we dig through this, we were looking for that kind of smoking gun of a connection there. Does that sound right where I have that so
Oh my
far?
God, dude.
Yeah, and I would. It's the closer. The only thing I would kind of say is I do find it a little bit improper.
Did I lose you, Kate?
Oh no, you can't. Can you hear me?
Let's see. Did I lose my? What? I don't hear anything.
Hold on. So he can't hear me. Can anyone else hear me? I'm lighting up like I'm talking.
Oh, we can totally hear you.
Just making sure it's not my.
We hear you too much. God damn.
Let me test my head. Let me test my ear jacks.
Sorry. Oh yeah, so everybody else can hear me. So
I see Kate movement on the thing, so she's.
I
can hear both of us, so I just can't hear.
Oh,
Let me check my.
God, dude.
See what's going on with my audio.
Oh, good Lord, we're gonna get called low budget now. Oh no.
Well, not you, Kate, but yeah, you are too. Because I mean, let's just keep it real.
But can you hear me?
Yeah, everyone can. Well, he can't hear me, so I can't.
But low budget is good.
Hear him too.
Low budget is good. Keep your budget low.
I'd like to take this opportunity while Kevin is working on his headphones to just, if you guys aren't aware, there's this guy named Will Henry Lang. He goes by the Juror, and he beat his disabled son. That's something that happened, as well as a dog, and he was flashbanged out of a house that he was squatting in. So there's documentation.
Well, I wasn't squatting there, but
On Twitter, you can definitely look it up.
you can.
Maybe I'll post it later.
So I want to ask a little bit of help for.
Hi, Krusty.
So I took off my headphones. Which
Hi,
means
hi,
I'm going from
Krusty.
the audio from my laptop, but that can sometimes create like a feedback thing. So please alert me right away in chat if anything sounds like you hear some strange feedback, and I'll try to hit.
You're good.
You're good. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what. Really weird. The headphones all of a sudden just weren't doing it. So, okay. So I missed what you said, but I'm glad you were there to pick up the ball.
I was just there
the
to just take a real quick left turn and just educate the public about a dangerous man.
The public, all 300 of you.
You know, by the name of Will Links. That's all.
Oh, the glare. I haven't even heard his name in a long time. I have no idea what he does.
You don't really follow child abuse cases, I guess. Anyway, but I'll
let me bring on.
No, this is live.
Play a couple of clips of Dr. Wolf. And this is during the voir dire of last April, so before the second trial. And it's hard to tolerate watching him because this has to be one of the most smug, arrogant human beings I can remember. All right, again, so please, anybody let me know if there's any kind of a feedback.
Dude, Dr. Wolf, like how is Dr. Wolf smug or arrogant at all?
Relationship. I think that I reached out to Mr. Jackson. Like I said, I think it looks like about a month had passed, and I had let him know that I had spoken to the DOJ and got clarification on moving forward.
So in April of 2024, you reached out to the defense and said that you had permission or a green light to move forward in the relationship with the defense in this case.
I had clarification from the Department of Justice, yes.
And that clarification allowed you then to work with the defense on this case.
Not work with, we could be called on the defense's behalf to testify. And for that matter, the common.
Okay, so
I can know. Oh, you're muted, Kevin.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt real quickly here. Just so what he's going to do now is very arrogantly try to keep resisting any possible idea that he is not independent, that he's just another expert that's hired by a defense or a prosecution. I mean, look, experts that are hired in a trial, they're advocating for one side or the other. That's just the way it is. But these guys were unusually and uniquely presented as independent because they supposedly were hired they were hired initially by the U.S. government.
Right.
And the U.S. government is, in theory, supposed to be independent. They're not supposed to be on a side. But as Hank Brennan pointed out, they clearly were here. Anything on that before I start playing again, Kate?
No, you got it all.
Okay.
Commonwealth could have also contacted us and utilized us at trial as well, if they should, please.
So when did you become an advocate?
Thank you, know the enemy.
Do you feel like you're an advocate for the defense?
No, sir.
You sure about that?
So I'm on the science and the analysis that I've done. That's the side that I'm on.
You sure are. Because after that 424 call, letting them know
like
that the
they love that. They love that because they want to paint Dr. Wolf out to be like he's fucking sneaking around and doing some behind the scenes shit. Like, this dude was hired by the FBI. He conducted his own. The ARCA guys conducted their own experiments. They conducted their own testing, and the findings turned out to be evidence that could be used in trial. So the defense used it. And of course, the defense is going to subpoena the ARCA guys and have them testify. And yes, they're going to take care of their expenses if they can, of course. Why not?
The United States Attorney's Office gave permission for you to be called as a witness. You called them again that day, didn't you? Or they called you on the main line?
We may have exchanged a couple calls that day, yes.
Well, you did exchange a couple calls that day because we have at least some records. And when you called later that day,
Let me just push it forward a little bit. But so, you know, he's going to keep doing this throughout. He's going to resist and keep trying to present himself as independent.
Hey, I have said that if someone, Erica's just trying to help. I have said that if someone is clearly just a troll with crazy fucking doxing handles, and if people are doxing and doing dirty shit, then yes, if you have a wrench, you are free to hide them. Just be very, very, that's the only way. Other than that, just time them out. But yeah, when it comes to like obvious trolls like that, yeah, just fucking hide them. Fuck them.
Independent. And he is science, as the Karen Reed crowd likes to think. Science says.
And you know, it's so crazy because he's easily one of the most evasive witnesses of the trial, right? Yep. And he's constantly being confronted with records that completely contradict what he's trying to say.
Yep.
But yet, people like John
See, free speech applies to the United States of America, which I am very much a patriot of. But free speech doesn't apply in Glare-land. I determine what's free speech in Glare-land. Glare-land is a dictatorship, and I decide whether or not you get to be in here or not. And I get to decide what I want to fucking look at in my chat. And I get to decide whether or not you're worth having in my chat. And if you are disrupting my chat and taking away from the good time we're trying to have here, then yes, I will absolutely wipe you out of my chat. You don't get free speech here. If you're here to disrupt people trying to enjoy themselves, you don't need to be here. Yeah, no, I know, Erica. I think Cherry just got here. She didn't see it, but yes, that is absolutely grounds to hide someone when they're using people's names, and yeah, that's always been the case on this channel.
And McCabe get branded as, you know, not credible. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
It's just even weird to understand the trial process that way, that any expert on either side of a trial.
Like, if you're trolling and you're funny, that's cool. I actually like that. If you're a troll and you're funny, right on. You know, if you're creative, I love it. But if you're just here to be a cunt, you know, and pissing everybody's Cheerios, you're not welcome here.
Is independent or is science? No, it's an adversary system, and you have competing experts. In theory, at least the prosecution, their job is to get to the truth. So if they're doing it honestly, at least they're trying to present experts that should be more independent. Although, to be fair, that might not be the case with a lot of prosecutions either. But certainly in the case of a defense, their job is to get their client off. Their job is not to get to the truth.
Right.
That you sent to the court in response to the court order. Did you have actual records?
What do you mean in terms of actual records?
Well, I see like a summary chart that was developed. Who developed that summary chart?
So that was, again, as I mentioned earlier, I was unfortunately unable to pull anything from T-Mobile. I just could not get access. Then what I did is I logged into my personal Verizon phone records, and I was able to go back for 3 months. I couldn't get back to December, and then I downloaded the spreadsheets, and I extracted those rows and provided that.
Did you provide the
This
actual
whole
record?
stream is somehow designed to prove that Karen Reed had an unethical association filled with improprieties with the feds. I'm still waiting to hear anything of any substance. And I'm still waiting to hear anything that I haven't been listening to these idiots fucking spew out for the past 2 fucking years. Like, this is just the same old regurgitated bullshit that A, nobody believes, but B, nobody gives a fuck about. I genuinely logged on to this and stayed live because I expected something. Conroy Byrne, member for a month. Erica Walsh is the best. Yeah, she's great. Kim is a ladybug. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Welcome to Logic. Appreciate it.
Records or just the spreadsheet?
Well, I provided the spreadsheet, which was pulled from the records. I would have had to redact a lot of phone numbers if I was to put in the full extraction, if you will.
So you didn't provide the full extraction?
I provided the full extraction as it relates to all of the contact between myself and Mr. Jackson and Miss Little.
Did you ever delete texts?
From last year?
Yes.
Yes.
After you had text messages with the defense, did you delete those texts?
Yeah, after the trial concluded, I mean, that's something I routinely do. I'm not going to keep texts from Mr. Jackson, especially.
He'll never give you you give him a yes or no question. He'll never answer it. You know, he's just always going to dodge out of it. And I could see doing that a little bit, but you know, to the point that he does it, it's ridiculous. And you know, he's saying the trial is over, but he also knows there's going to be a second trial.
Actually, now that we're past a year, I would have no reason to keep those, sir.
I'm not asking for the excuse. I'm asking if you did it. Did you delete texts?
Again, it's something that I typically do. I communicate with attorneys all the time, whether it's for trial or inspections. I don't have
around 100 text messages between you and the defense.
It would have been sometime after the trial, probably before I got my new phone in November, but it would have been probably in the month or two after the trial. So.
Where were you when you were deleting these texts? Were you at your office, at home? Do you remember sitting down and deciding intentionally you were going to delete over 100 texts? Where did that decision happen?
I have no idea, sir.
You can't remember deleting over 100 texts where you were?
I just said I delete text routinely. You're asking me to specifically give you a location at a time when I deleted those. I don't recall that.
He's deleting texts that he knows there will be a court order to save.
And these idiots, like, it just they deliberately like duck so that the obvious flies over their head. That's what's crazy here. These idiots do that. Think about it for a second, because he's sitting here and he's answering in a way that seems condescending to somebody who's not paying attention to what's actually happening here. And what's happening here is Hank Brennan is asking Dr. Wolf stupid, insane, ridiculous fucking questions. He's asking a very educated professional man stupid, fucking insane questions that are designed to imply that this guy did something nefarious. His degree is real. Crash Daddy is the best. Right. I mean, this is like, so they just choose to ignore that this dude is straight up like asking the stupidest fucking questions, and the circumstances in which the questions are being asked are even fucking dumber. Like, Hank Brennan sounds retarded asking these questions, and Dr. Wolf can't fucking believe that he has to sit here and answer them. And he's going, dude, like, if I'm telling you, how are you not getting that? If I'm telling you that I routinely delete text messages, how the fuck am I going to be able to tell you a date and time when I did this? And Hank Brennan is just hammering at this idea that there was something nefarious about him deleting the text messages, where it's already asked and answered. Bev's not putting a stop to it. Because, I mean, he's like, I already answered the question. How, I mean, I routinely delete text messages. That means, how the fuck am I supposed to know when I deleted a particular text messages? A particular text message, excuse me. How the fuck am I supposed to know that?
Right. And I mean, it's not, I mean, the retrial was announced the same day that the jury hung. And I mean, his wife was in the Facebook group.
Celebrate.
His wife was in the Facebook group.
Again, I enter my time so that the company can keep track of my time. Yes.
When you came out here and made travel arrangements, did you have any conversations with anybody from the defense?
About the travel arrangements?
Yeah.
Yes.
And as far as the travel arrangements, who on the defense?
Some people are just weird about that, man, and they just delete their texts, you know? You know what I mean? Like, I don't, I don't, but, you know, I'm also a fucking slob. You know what I mean? So
Defense was trying to help you with travel arrangements.
I believe it was Mr. Jackson.
Was there other people, associates, colleagues that were helping you as well?
None that I had direct communication with. I don't know if he communicated with others after that.
Was there a person named Kat? You ever hear that name before?
This name's going to come up again tonight, right, Kate?
Yes, it is.
I believe that, yeah, she may have escorted me into the courtroom, I think.
Well,
I get that.
Because that's a pretty particular.
I get that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that. Like, some people just don't like to see the clutter of shit. You know, I get that. Like, I always close out my windows on my phone, like, because it drives me crazy to have a bunch of windows open on my phone, and it eats your battery. But I don't even do it because of the battery thing. That's just another reason to justify. That's just another thing that I use to justify doing some dumb obsessive thing with my phone, which is just fucking closing out all my windows, because I don't like to see a bunch of windows open on my phone when I open my phone. Tracy Cooley, thank you so much. But it was perfectly fine for Higgins to destroy his phone, break the SIM, and the Alberts for rid of their devices, for fuck's sake. Right. I mean, but none of this was even brought up because Higgins wasn't even called to the stand. I mean, the thing is Brennan, in theory, had a good idea of how to approach prosecuting this case. In theory, he did. It's just that he fell flat. He fell absolutely flat. And he was arrogant because he thought he could play a whole bunch of misdirection games and the jury was going to fall for it, but they didn't. It's real simple. If you go in there as a juror and you understand that the burden of proof is on the prosecution and that the defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty, then there's nothing you can do. If you go in there with that mindset, there's nothing. You're not going to fall for misdirection. You're just going to look at the facts.
Names. When you use words like you believe, you know. So, did you meet a person by the name of Kat?
I'll allow it.
I think when I arrived here, yes.
Remember that name, Kat, everybody.
Without qualification, the simple question is, you've met Kat, haven't you?
I think I met her. It was either at the.
I met Kat.
So I never discussed this with him. This is something that I sent.
Okay, let me explain to you who Kat is, guys. As far as and all anybody needs to know. Kat is someone who is associated with Karen Reed in some way, shape, or form that I don't know on a personal level. I'm still not privy to that. I don't. I mean, they told me, but I forgot because it doesn't matter. And DW again gifted 5 members. Kat is the person. The first time. When I first got in touch with Nick Rocco asked me if I wanted a seat in the courtroom, and Nick Rocco passed on the information. Once I said, yes, I can make arrangements, I'm down to go, blah, blah, blah. Nick Rocco put me in touch with Kat. Kat was the person who helped with the arrangements of anyone who they were going to meet with or be a guest. She took care of accommodations. You know what I'm saying? Like, she took care of the seating. And that's all that was. Right, a liaison. Kind of, she kind of acted as an unofficial concierge for Karen Reed, more or less. If they had witnesses, you know, pick them up from the airport and make arrangements and yeah, that stuff. Exactly, Erica. That's all Kat was. To my knowledge anyway. But so him bringing it up sounds ridiculous. Hank bringing this up sounds crazy because all Kat most likely did was make their arrangements and tell them where they needed to go and maybe pick them up for certain things or whatever. Who knows? I don't know. But Kat was just a go-between for, you know what I mean? Like, that was it. It wasn't anything like, I don't understand why he's bringing her up like as if she was doing something wrong. She sat in the courtroom throughout the whole first trial. I mean,
sent to him that I did on my own and that I sent to him, but he never asked this of me and we never discussed it.
So you sent him what you thought would be the best questions and answers that he asked you to testify.
So this is something I routinely do when
I don't know why they're so upset because, I mean, all I'm doing is providing a service. I'm providing Plevin a service. I'm taking his hate views away. He's not interested in hate views. He doesn't want those. They could come over here. No reason to go over there and hate on Plevin. You could watch over here. That's all. You know, no reason for that. Lily Lime Media, thank you so much. She was Karen's best friend, unless there's another Kat. No, that's probably the same one. I didn't pay attention to who was who until I got more comfortable. You know, I would have dealt with Kat if I hadn't ended up exchanging direct contact information with Karen herself. And then anytime there was a fundraiser or something like that, Karen contacted me directly about it. There was no middle person anymore, but Kat was the middle person at first for me, is all I know. And I got the impression, I'm just telling you the impression I've got of what she does.
Do you want to refresh, Kate? Do you remember this part? When Dr. Wolf helped prepare during the first trial? He helped prepare. He was so proactive that he was helping the defense anticipate questions that the prosecution might ask and how to avert them.
Yep.
Work with attorneys. Okay. I prepare this on my own to prep myself and prepare for trial.
Can I hear that, please? There's an email with a document related to the exhibit.
Okay. Exhibit 1.
Thank you. So you assisted the defense in anticipation of your testimony by sharing with them the questions and answers you thought would be most helpful?
Again, as I mentioned, this is something that I do internally to prepare. I sent that to him.
I mean, you got to watch this exchange. It's unbelievable.
The evening before I testified at 6 p.m. I presume that he already had his direct examination done at that point. So I sent that to him. Yes.
That's a lot of answers other than the one for my question. The one for my question.
Hold the comments, please.
My question was, you had communications offering information to the defense before you testified in a way that you thought would help the testimony, didn't you?
Well, first off, I have no idea if he even read it or utilized anything from it.
But that's not really answering the question I just asked, is it?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course I can. So when you sent a direct examination to Attorney Jackson before your testimony, you communicated with Attorney Jackson, providing information that you thought would best help your testimony in court.
Well, I think ultimately it's to help the jury understand my report and my analysis.
You think it's helpful not answering the question and just diverting every time I ask you something? You think that's helpful? Do you want to answer my question or do you want me to move on?
I think I answered your question.
I don't think you did, so I'll ask it one more time.
All right, no comments, please.
Do you think that providing a direct examination to the defense...
What the fuck, dude? Listen to this asshole.
Do you think it's helpful not answering the question and just diverting every time I ask you something? Do you think that's helpful?
You think it's helpful avoiding the question, not answering the question? You think that's helpful?
Like... He answered your fucking question, dummy.
Do you want to answer my question? Or do
you want to answer my question?
I think I answered your question.
I don't think you did, so I'll ask it one more time.
Totally answered it.
All right, no comments, please.
Do you think that providing a direct examination to the defense before you testified is in any way assisting preparing for your testimony?
Again, I don't know if he even utilized it, sir. And certainly if the Commonwealth had reached out, they could have gotten a copy of that as well. It would have been the same exact outline whether I testified on behalf of the defense or behalf of the Commonwealth.
You don't want to answer my question?
Wow.
Did you ever make any comments?
He never
or
answered.
discuss the outline that you provided to the defense to help better the testimony for the defense?
I did put comments, yes.
When I just showed you that document, you said you just sent it because this is a standard thing. Why didn't you just tell us that you made comments that would assist the defense? Why didn't you share that when I just asked the question?
I don't understand your question.
You don't understand my question. I asked you about the outline, the direct examination you provided to the defense, and you gave me a response that this is something typical, but it's just an outline. You wouldn't answer whether it would help the defense or not, but the reality is you were assisting the defense, isn't it?
I'm going to allow that.
You were making suggestions to help the defense.
Alessi is getting so fucking annoyed with this guy just badgering Dr. Wolf. And honestly, and I swear, like, Bob might even deny it, but I believe that he was getting frustrated with Bev mostly, because why is Bev just letting this go is the big question. Why the fuck is Bev just letting this line of questioning go? She hears that this dude is answering the question, and he continues to just badger this guy as if she just wants it to happen, as if she wants the witness to say something that he's going to regret.
Aren't you?
Sir, it wasn't to help the defense. It wasn't to help anyone but the jury understand things.
Right.
As I just mentioned.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to then I go one more segment to go to, but this is just, I got to believe that even somebody in FKR would not fall for this, that this guy is not independent. He's just not, he's so disingenuous here. It's just stunning to me. Are you stunned by any of that, Kate?
Well, no.
They are delusional. That's fucking wild. They are absolutely delusional. He's completely and totally candidly answering his question. It's just not the answer that Hank Brennan wants. And it's just not the answer that these idiots want. And that's all that's happening here. And so Bob Alessi is going, objection, Your Honor. Like, are you fucking serious that you're letting this shit fucking go?
Oh, because I would assume that he's very, I just want to help the jury understand, right?
Yeah.
Understand the defense's viewpoint. That's what it is, right?
That's all I care about, really.
I mean,
no, it just happens to turn out that their analysis was in concert with the defense's viewpoint. That doesn't mean that they colluded. That doesn't mean that they schemed to get the same conclusion. That's not what they did. That's not what that means. It just simply means that their findings that they came upon independently happened to solidify the defense's theories. That's it. That's why they made good witnesses for the defense. It's just a simple, you have an expert, conducted an analysis, conducted experiments, conducted tests, and it just so happens that those results help the defense. And so the defense is going to do what? If they're effective, they're going to have that expert testify. They're going to show the expert's analysis. That's the whole point. There's nothing nefarious about that. So Brennan sitting here and badgering this guy is one thing, but these two morons who are acting like there was something behind Brennan, who fucking just was the biggest limp dick prosecutor that I've seen in a case in I don't know how fucking long. This dude absolutely and totally walked into this case with a noodle dick. Even in his opening statements, you could barely hear him. And then fucking AJ rolls in and he goes, hold my martini, and fucking killed it. Owned the jury, had the jury right here immediately. Like, this dude, Brennan, was all he had was tactics to try to cut Karen Reed's defense's legs out from under her. That's all he had. Motions to suppress exculpatory evidence. Motions to exclude expert witness testimony. All kinds of shit like that. This constantly happened pre-trial. We went over it every single time. And I would say it every single time. All this guy has is some tactic to try to intercept the defense. They brought no evidence to the table. And the burden to bring that evidence is on them.
I mean, he is so smug and so evasive. It's just, it blows my mind that he was heralded as this.
Now,
authority.
keep in mind that the only reason these two fucking idiots think that Karen Reed's guilty and are somehow spinning what they're seeing here into the narrative that Brennan was trying to convince the jury of, that nobody was stupid enough to do. The only reason they're this stupid is because they hate Turtle Boy. That is an absolute fact. Think about it. The only reason they are at this point here, the only reason is because they hate Turtle Boy so much. That is what sparked it, and that is what led them to this absurdity that we're watching and listening to right now. That's crazy. It wasn't, oh my God, this is compelling. This changes my mind. I'm not sure. I thought Karen might be innocent, but I don't know. This is compelling. No, it's, oh my God, I hate this guy, Turtle Boy. And now I'm starting to think Karen might be guilty. That's how that went down in both cases, right here. And people follow this shit. And the only people who do are people who think Karen is guilty for the same exact fucking reason, because they hate Turtle Boy so much. That is so crazy. And they don't even realize that it's the ultimate self-troll. That your hatred for somebody that has so much control over your ability to form your own opinion based on simple observations, that you actually allow your personal feelings about somebody to affect your ability to look at clear evidence. And the best part about that is that he uses it. He uses it, and it makes him even more popular. It gives him more content. Sound familiar? It makes him more powerful. The more you hate him, the more people start asking questions about who's this Turtle Boy guy. And it's fucking hilarious. Like, I've been fascinated with that shit for 2 years now. I've been fucking fascinated with it. Just watching it and going, oh my God. Like, how do these people not see that this dude, like, you're bound to lose because you're so fucking enraged by just your feelings about this guy are so consuming to you that it is cloud your sense of logic. And every time they go after him, they run themselves into a wall. And Aiden's just standing there going, meet. It just continues to happen. And here I am, just the guy who happens to be friends with him, who has just been talking about the case, talking about his case, talking about the Karen Reed case because it's fucking important. And then they lump me up with it. And I get dragged into the shit. And then guess what happened? Now, shit. Dude, I told you, man. First class on the way to Boston, baby. Fuck yeah. First fucking class. I'm gonna be drinking a fucking, sipping a drink, little stir. Telling you, man. Listening to fucking Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. I wish that we could do it all again. Yeah. Can I get another one? Thanks. That's what I'm going to be doing. All because these people want to hate me now. And I just laugh at it. and you guys think it's funnier and more fun to watch me laugh at it than watch them get all mad and hate me. And all I have to do, like all I've been doing, is just doing what I do. That's it.
Authority of truth and science and a credible witness. It really does blow my mind.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, I can't, I don't even know. Listen, if I was watching a witness like that for the prosecution, I would immediately say, yeah, this guy's being evasive. It's not hard to understand. It's not hard to follow. You don't have to be a partisan to not be able to see it.
I believe I met him that day, yes.
Let's get to
You
the
were
middle
asked
of it.
whether or not you had ever discussed at trial now, after the voir dire, on June 24th, you were asked whether you ever discussed the substance of any of your testimony. Do you remember that?
Correct.
And so when you shared
speed it up
questions
a
and
little.
answers and suggestions by email, was the statement under oath, you and I have never discussed the substance of your testimony. Is that still truthful?
We never discussed it, sir. Again, I sent it to him on my own behalf. There was no discussion that took place between Mr. Jackson about that.
You made comments after this was exchanged.
That was sent with the comments, sir.
And then you were asked whether you had ever been paid by the defense. You said no. You were later paid by the defense, weren't you?
ARCA did send an invoice afterwards, yes.
Did you talk to ARCA about that? About the billing in this case?
No.
You submitted your bill? Yes?
ARCA submitted the bill?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Klein, he was involved in the
Nobody denies this.
testing.
That's what's funny about
Just
it.
to remind,
Why is it that Mr. Klein didn't come in?
Sorry, just to remind what this is about. During the first trial, he testified.
Bro. They testified. They had to fucking fly out there. I mean, ARCA's like, yeah, okay, well, who's going to pay for this? You know what I mean? Like, that's not, that's any fucking business, dude. Any business does that. Any business has a guy or a lady working there whose job it is to go, all right, so who's going to pay for this shit? We shouldn't have to be paying for it. Who's going to pay for this shit? That's every fucking business. And Hank Brennan is acting like there was some sort of fucking briefcase exchange, like in a fucking underground garage and shit. Like, dude, what are you talking about? This is just common practice.
That the defense wasn't paying him. They weren't paying ARCA. And yet they were sending a bill to him. So it was clearly just another lie. But that's why it's important. It goes to his credibility.
And join you. Who made that decision? The trial.
Well, I think it was around, again, when we were talking about those June calls, I think then you would be able to understand that.
But it would be easy to understand if you could just tell us what the conversation was. When you had a conversation with the defense, did you tell them the role that Mr. Klein played in your investigation and in your conclusions?
Again, I told him that we are both accident reconstructionists.
And he chose you instead of Mr. Klein. Did you say there was a difference between you and Mr.
shit,
Klein
bro.
and what you did?
No, again, we were both a part of the testing. We were both a part of the review. So we had exactly the same role, essentially.
Did you tell him that?
No, I told him that we were both accident reconstructionists.
And you remember that's all you said about it?
This wasn't how it was supposed to be.
During the voir dire
yeah,
and the trial, did you get to watch any of the Commonwealth's experts?
No, I don't believe so.
Did you ever communicate with the defense about any questions and answers that could or should be asked?
No, but I will note that during the entirety of the first trial, the Department of Justice was closely watching it, and we had certainly a direct line of communication with them that they were giving us and providing us information about the trial as it was ongoing.
Did you ever communicate with the defense about questions and answers to ask?
So that was the important thing. And unfortunately, I think, Kate, that it seems like now, as soon as this, I remember watching this and I was blown away as soon as he said that. I was like, you got to be kidding
blown
me.
away.
The U.S. Attorney's Office?
You got to be kidding
Yeah,
me.
for some reason he wanted to say
U.S.
that. Instead,
Attorney's
he wants to
Office?
say-
Holy
first he said
shit,
DOJ.
man.
I think that might be I guess another way of him to try and distract us from the truth. But I was blown away by that. But I don't think the average person in the media even understood, or certainly nobody in FKR understood what they were hearing, how big that was. And Hank didn't really jump on it either.
Right. Well, I mean, it's voir dire, so I mean, I don't know how effective it would have been if he did.
So
you know,
many promises.
It's clearly wildly improper. I'm sure that Kanone understood what she was hearing, right? Which is really the only thing that matters, and she still admitted him anyway for whatever reason. But I mean, that is insane because they are in the course of this breaking a state sequestration order. Number one, they are for a neutral, uninvolved party, really, 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 essentially working for the defense.
These people are just talking out of their
working
asses.
for the
This is
defense.
so
And that's
funny.
it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Right. I mean, it really, it just is, you know, you have a sequestration order, and which is standard for a trial. And there's no way that one side's experts are supposed to know what the other side's experts are testifying. They're sequestered. They're not supposed to follow. Witnesses are not supposed to follow what's going on with the other witnesses. And Dr. Wolf understands this. That's pretty much what he does for a living. It's not science. He testifies in trials. That's what he does.
I love how he has the balls to say that and then defend that the fucking McAlberts were doing that shit all through the first fucking trial, before it, after, fucking second trial. Dude, what is he talking about? The fuck? They all do that shit. All the whole McAlbert clan, all these people. We saw fucking proof that Proctor was texting with Lally. What are you talking about? Plevin's fucking retarded, dude.
When he's not building when he's not building taillight cannon or cocktail glass cannons.
Why were they I mean, so they're supposed to be separate parallel investigations, right? Which I was talking to someone earlier.
I know.
I got this information from an attorney out of state. I can't really say much more than that. But
this dude is fucking killing me, bro.
They have done some work pretty regularly with their state DOJ office, and had asked the question at one point, and was told that it's unheard of, never happened in this particular state at all. Right. That a parallel investigation, goes on at the same time as a state investigation. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
And then on top of that, if they're parallel and separate, what does whatever going on in that courtroom, in that state courtroom, have anything to do with the federal government? They were paying people to watch that trial and report to a defense expert.
Exactly. Why?
Right.
Why were they watching? Why were they reporting that? In fact, at this point, they had already cut Arca Go so they could go work for the defense. So what was their interest in it?
Right. So that's a good point too, though, is that this witness that is now a defense witness is no longer has a relationship with the DOJ in relation to this case, but they're still coordinating on it. That's insane.
That's not insane. That's not insane, because they never testified as agents for the DOJ or the FBI. They testified as ARCA experts, period. They conducted these tests. They are the ones who conducted the experiments, who conducted the analysis, and came up with hypotheses and God knows what else fucking shit that's way over my head to explain, but fucking came up with the results that concluded that John O'Keefe was not hit by a car, that a car didn't hit John O'Keefe. Period. Point blank. There's nobody better to get to testify to that than the guys who conducted these experiments and tests. What the fuck are they talking about? Like, yes, it's only it's a detail. It's a mere detail that they were hired initially by the FBI to conduct these tests, to conduct their end of the investigation. Yes. But by the time the first trial, even by the time they even testified in the first trial, that their job was done. Their job was done. So to sit here and be like, oh my God, it's crazy that they called them to testify for the second trial when they're not even under the employ of the DOJ anymore. Well, no, it's not. Because they are witnesses to evidence that is very exculpatory to their client. That's all that matters. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's
Anyone
crazy.
should take issue with it. I cannot imagine if it was happening, conversely, to a defendant that you like. People would be upset by that. There's a reason why there's a separation.
Right. Now, I don't know if, there are questions of, I'm not a lawyer when it comes to legality. People might say that these laws don't apply to the federal government. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure if whoever in the U.S. Attorney's Office was doing this, was it Adam Deitch? We don't know. Were they violating any kind of a law? But I would say that Dr. Wolf was violating sequestration, even just listening to that, don't you think? He's who the sequestration order applied to.
Oh yeah, but I mean, yeah, obviously, and I'm sure that he was aware of it. There's no way that he wasn't aware of it. He was definitely noticed. I think he testified during voir dire that he was
Did I do true crime before that? Yes and no. I never approached true crime cases the way that other true crime creators do. And it always kind of veered me towards the people who do it in a really fucked up way. And so pretty much, I mean, yeah, no, I appreciate the question because, I mean, if you're curious, I don't mind answering. Yeah, there's cases that I covered for sure. I've never been more involved in a case than I have with the Karen Reed Turtle Boy stuff. I've never been as involved, but I definitely covered cases, but mostly what I ended up doing was gravitating towards the misinformation that would take place and that people would exploit victims and that's why I just don't even fuck with missing persons cases anymore, man, because that shit just turns into a crazy one aspect of this community gets a hold of it. And like in that little corner of it, it gets so gross and disgusting. And I can't with that anymore. So like I spent a lot of time calling out shitty people who did shitty things with their channels in regards to these cases, because people forget that these are real people. And then what they end up doing is contacting them and they end up buddying up to them, like families of victims, and they buddy up to them. And then what they'll do is create a drama with them for views and say, oh my God, this person. And I started to get, and they do that shit. Like there was one lady named Molly Golightly who used to do that. She was fucking a master at it. She would contact the victim's family, because these people, they don't follow true crime cases. They're just victims, people in fucked up situations. Right. And so they don't follow true crime. So they don't know who the fuck these people are. And they're just like, I have a platform and I want to get your story out there and I want to help you and I want to help. And they advocate for it. They say that they're advocating for them. And then they start talking about how behind the scenes, this person said something that really disturbed me. And then they start creating a narrative that they might be guilty of something. And it might have something to do with the crime that they're talking about after pretending to advocate for them. And then they create this whole, it becomes really disgusting. And I can't watch that shit happen anymore. I used to call it out, cover it, and be like, this is fucking gross. Look what these fuckers are doing. But now I just rather not even deal with it. This and being on the side of this that I have been has been the most rewarding experience of my entire life. Like, I'll say a lot of the same shit that LTL says, but I mean it. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he just says it because he hears me say it. But I absolutely have always said that this has been the most rewarding experience of my entire life. And using my voice for something positive and something that I'm passionate about and and having a positive influence has been something that is beyond a blessing. And I just won't squander it. But yeah, so yeah, I found much joy leaving that shit behind and coming here and doing this.
I can't remember if he said that he was noticed or not, but I would assume that he knew about it. And it was definitely, the defense's job to make sure that he definitely knew about it, right? Because they're beholden to this order as well. But I mean, that's dwarfed by the fact that you've got the federal government monitoring a state murder trial.
Right. As
To
Hank said, putting it
coordinate
on
with
the
a
scale.
defense
Why?
expert. I mean, it's insane.
Right.
Every time federal government monitoring a state murder trial
Right. As
to
Hank said, putting it
coordinate
on
with
the
a
scale.
defense
Why?
expert. I mean, it's insane.
Right.
Every time I think
To coordinate with a defense expert? No, they hired that defense expert. That defense expert became a defense expert because that federal government hired them. It's not insane. It is insane, but not for the reasons you're saying it. It's insane that the very DA who is prosecuting this case was under federal investigation, and that they felt the need to conduct their own investigation into the murder of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. That's fucking insane, but it happened. And this is the result. And you just don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept the fact that that shit is totally fucked up. That Michael Morrissey is under federal investigation, and it caused them to conduct their own investigation to see if Michael Morrissey's subordinates were actually doing their job and trying to get justice for a fallen Boston police officer. The fact that they had to go in there behind the fucking Massachusetts State Police and the Canton Police Department. The fact that they had to go behind them with a mop is insane because they couldn't do their fucking jobs. And because they did nefarious shit that would require the feds to look into them. I mean, the foreman of the jury of the last trial was just interviewed. I just went over it 3 hours ago. And he said himself, the fucking tow truck, Karen's SUV being towed away, the video of that shows the taillight lighting up intact. How the fuck could the taillight have been found at 34 Fairview if it's sitting there in Karen's house after the fact and it's intact? What that means is that taillight was fucking planted. That's what that means. Without a doubt, that taillight was fucking planted. Everything I just named is what's crazy about this, not what Karen Reed's defense team did. They didn't do anything crazy.
think about it, it's mind-boggling.
And this is what we're going to reveal tonight, which may take us a step closer. But the answer is why? Why is the federal government so insistent on taking a side in that case? And by then, they had completed their investigation. They had left it officially ongoing so that the defense could exploit that word. But there was no further investigation going on. Nothing had been going on. And they had found no evidence of a cover-up. And they went as far as to get the communications of all the people in the house. And they found no evidence of a conspiracy, no evidence of a...
Exactly. I mean, that's all the resources.
No, dude. See, he keeps making that assumption because there's no active federal investigation that we know of happening right now. So he's making the assumption that they found no evidence. That's not true. You don't know what evidence they found. You don't know. They probably just didn't find enough evidence that they felt would get a 100% sealed, absolute conviction if they took that shit to a jury. Because of the high percentage of federal convictions. Their success rate of convictions is just like in the fucking high 90s. And the reason why is because they dot every I and cross every T. And it's probably just they didn't have enough that they felt confident, considering Michael Morrissey's connections, considering all factors. To take to a courtroom and present to a jury to have him convicted. They probably just didn't have enough where they felt confident. And like I said, other factors being involved. Maybe they had enough evidence for the average person. But for a guy like Michael Morrissey, who has the connections that he has, knows the people that he knows, maybe that factors into you need a little bit more than just the truth to convict a guy like that. So they're like, well, we're not willing to do that, so we got to let it go, at least for now. I mean, and that shit is just plain as day. You know what I mean? That's just common sense. If you've ever followed any high-profile case, you understand that this is how these things go. I remember covering cases and seeing people go, this is taking too long. What's taking so long for them to make an arrest on this person? They know they did it. Everyone knows they did it. We know this about them. We know that about them. And it's like, dude, because they are building a case. It's not about slapping handcuffs on them. It's about getting them in front of a fucking jury and convincing that jury beyond a reasonable doubt that they did this. And that you have to have an overwhelming amount of evidence to do that. To even attempt it, you have to make sure that you're going, because that's what have you ever seen an episode of Law and Order? Fucking SVU. Carisi will be like, yeah, okay. You got this, you got that, but I'm going to need more. If you want me to go in front of a jury and a judge, I'm going to need more than that. And they're like, what are you talking about? We got this guy right here at the scene, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but I've got no murder weapon. Find me a murder weapon and I'll move forward. That's what they do. It has to be rock solid. Absolutely. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I've had my fill of these idiots. But yeah, man, I'm really glad to have hung out with you guys this evening. Keeping my mind off eating junk food because I get really tempted to eat junk food, and I'm really into what I've been doing. I've been really self-disciplined lately, and it feels really good. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you might even be referring to me, but you are making an excellent point. That's absolutely true. Once the feds found exculpatory information, they're required to turn it over. That's why the 3100 page TUI report was sealed. That's why we still don't have access to it. And if the case is fucking closed, why don't we have access to it? Explain that. But then again, that's over my head too. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to call it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. You guys are super, super fun, super awesome. Yeah, if it's not pouring rain in the morning, I'll see you members on my clubber walk. And remember, it only takes a second to stay safe. I love you guys very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.
Watch out!
Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school, just like their neighbors, and come back to a real home. A supervised home, right in the neighborhood, where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.